Hello, everybody. Javier's here, too. On my end, the system shows like I'm having some problems with the stream. So if you're all having problems with stream, if it's buffering and stuff, yell at me in the chat or I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, this is the Kaypro stream, the Maypro at Kaypro stream.
I don't have a Kaypro.
You don't have a Kaypro, but you're going to learn about the Kaypro tonight. So stand by while I see if I can figure out what's going on with my stream, because on my end, it seems like it's fine.
Actually, mine crashed. I have to restart my computer.
It's all your fault.
It's my fault.
I'll blame
I
you.
wouldn't be surprised.
Stand by, everybody. Literally, like, I clicked go, and it just, like, streaming, buffering. Yeah, my end, it looks okay. I'm going to hop out and hop back in. It should maintain this broadcast. So we will see. Stand by. There we go. Is that better, everybody? Good? Good? I hope it's good. Anyway, Tom, they're blaming you. Or I should say Javier, Tom's blaming you. So, a few little things. I asked some of my friends to come hang out tonight. We got Javier here. So that's cool because, like, I'm bored. I'm bored and I wanted to get some streaming in and I wanted to hang out with my friends and hang out with all you cool people in the chat and play with this Kaypro right here. And of course, the coolest person right now that we have here is Javier, who has released a whole bunch of really cool caps and t-shirts and stuff for, I don't know if it's for K-Fest coming up, but it's a lot of K-Fest Apple II related-y stuff. Shirts and Broderbund and all of that stuff. So super cool stuff.
I should do some Kaypro. I just don't know too much. That's why I came over here, to learn more.
Well, we're gonna learn a little bit about the Kaypro tonight. Before we dig in there, a little bit of housekeeping and silly stuff. Remember, you can follow me at the Museum Joe thing here on the Twitter twits. You're already on YouTube, so you know me down there. You can also go find me on Patreon. If you go to Patreon and just look for Joe's Computer Museum, I'm on there. You can drop $1 in the cup there. Support me monthly to help keep my stuff funded and do things like buy 5,000 roll 5,000 count rolls of resistors and stuff for building blue scuzzies and things, or for being able to make a pumpkin tosh and show it off to everybody even with its googly eyes. Hi Tom, the googly eyes are for you. Speaking of pumpkin toshes, it looks like Javier here got a super bright glowy green to make a Hulkintosh. Are you going to make one out of that SE?
Yep, that's what I got. This one, I need a motherboard. I've been looking for a motherboard because I had an SE30 motherboard, but it's been, traveling for me around the world.
Yeah.
Went to your house.
That thing.
Went to your house, went to Mac 84's house, and now it's in Australia.
Yeah. It's been stuck in Australia for about a year now. It's been there since last Marchintosh, not 2022. 2021. It's just been sitting there. So yeah. But yeah. So that's a thing. And then you've got your Apple IIc there. You got booted up as well. Is that running the newest version of the Apple II desktop that came out today?
Yep. I just downloaded right now.
Cool stuff.
It's fast, man. Really fast.
That's crazy. Other housekeeping stuff. Remember, while you're here, you can smack that like button that tells YouTube's algorithms stuffs that my content is cool, and it'll show my content to people who watch other content similar to other things that you like. And then it kind of tells everybody, hey, here's this Joe guy. You can go to jcm-1.com and get one of those cool stickers that Javier is showing. And get, like these stickers up here. You can get one of those. You can get one of these things right here and build it yourself. Apple logo. I'm sorry, a fruit logo. I can't call it an Apple logo, technically speaking. So that's all that. Housekeeping out of the way. So what's going on in the Joe world? Lots and lots of stuff. So the main reason why I wanted to do Maypro is one, because the Kaypro gets like no love, right? It's just this very basic, very simple and straightforward CPM computer, kind of the prototypical of its class CPM computer. And a lot of people think those machines are boring. And they kind of sort of are, but they're also kind of super interesting. They were kind of the IBM PC of their time before the IBM PC was a thing. So I wanted to kind of get in on that and do some stuff. So that's that. On top of all that, I've been doing a lot of work in the background, just working on a billion different things. One of them is this guy right here. But more specifically, that right there, that is the replacement keyboard encoder for an Apple II Datanetics keyboard. And just like the keyboard encoder in the regular Apple IIs and Apple IIIs, the Datanetics encoder is just awful. It's just yeah. They fail. They have static. They whatever. So I decided I'm going to design a replacement. Now there's already a replacement out there for that chip by a person in Belgium, I believe, but they only ship within Belgium. So if you're not in Belgium, you can't get it. So since I had already designed a keyboard encoder for the regular Apple II keyboard encoder, I just modified the code for the different pinout of this chip and slapped it in there. And hey, look, it works. Here's the problem, though. This keyboard is not mine. I don't own a Datanetics keyboard. I had to borrow this. I busted one from Ian. I'll just say his name is Ian. And now that I'm done with this and I have this encoder design, I got to get this keyboard back to him because these things are incredibly expensive. They're rare as heck, right? So I've been spending the last 2 days hand wiring my own version of this keyboard, right? That I can shove a socket in here so I can use it as a test, because I'm never going to really find my own Datanetics keyboard so that I can test these chips before I send them out. Like I could just solder the chip together and ship them out and be like, good luck, I hope it works. But I wanted that. So I'm bored. I was getting freaking bored of wiring wires. So here we are, and we're going to do some Kaypro stuff. So that's what we're doing. So we're going to switch a doodle some stuff around here. I'm going to go to that camera right here. That's me. And I'm going to make myself big because I'm important. No, I'm kidding. So this is my Kaypro here. This is the Kaypro 1, which is the last Kaypro they ever made, because the Kaypro naming scheme had less to do with like sequential series of the machines and more to do with the specs that the computer had, like how many floppy drives it had, or this or that or the other or whatever. So there is the machine. It's running CPM version 2.2 U1, which is the CPM that matches the main board in this machine. Now I'm going to get to the wackiness of this machine. But by default, this is basically just a Kaypro 2X. So if you go and look up Kaypro 2X, you'll see what it is and all that stuff, and that's cool. But basically, it has 64K of RAM, 2 serial ports, parallel port. I think it has 2 serial ports. Yes, 2 serial ports, parallel port, and all of that magic. Now, here's the weird thing about it. Also has 2 double-sided floppy drives. Double-sided floppy drives. Now, remember that. When I got this thing, it was a mess. Of course it was a mess. I got it back, like in 2008. It was a long time ago. And I never could get the thing to work right. I could never get it to function properly. It was always a freaking mess. And then if you go back and look at my video history, you'll see a series of 3 or 4 videos I did on this machine. And I eventually figured it out. So what's going on with this Kaypro is that it's a Kaypro 1, but it's got a Kaypro 4, a universal, what's called a universal board in it. So it has a universal board in it, but the universal board had the ROM from a different Kaypro put in. I have this documented somewhere. And because somebody had taken the original double-sided discs that the Kaypro 1 has and put single-sided ones in it. In order to support that, they had to change the ROM to support the different functionality of these drives. And then it was running a version of CPM to match that ROM, because CPM's it was the first universal operating system for mass market machines, but each CPM was slightly different. I'll get into that in a minute. So that was all changed. So I would download images and they wouldn't flip and work and nothing figured out. I had to, in order to figure this thing out back in the day, I had to yank the ROM chip out, dump it, and run a CRC check on it against every known Kaypro ROM that I could find until I figured out what ROM it actually was. I'm actually going to open my notes here real quick because I have detailed notes on all of this, because sometimes I do that. Stand by. Doobie-doobie-doo. Yes. So this was a 9-inch monochrome screen, 64K of RAM, 2 serial ports, parallel port, double-sided floppies. But this machine ended up having the ROM from a Kaypro 2/84 to support, because the 284 came with single-sided drives, which is what that was changed to. Now, in the process of doing all this, I ended up getting 2 double-sided drives, and that's cool, whatever. But then I ended up swapping in a floppy emulator. This is an HXC floppy emulator, the Lotharic or whatever you want to call it, floppy emulator, which works really well with this machine. In theory, a GoTac will also work. You just have to set it up properly. I have not set up a GoTac to work, but these are standard MFM floppy drives. They're nothing fancy. Literally, this drive is an IBM floppy drive. Like, it's standard. It doesn't matter. So I've done all that. So now I can get images on the thing and play with it and do all that stuff. So let's talk a little bit about CPM for those who don't know what CPM is. So CPM, did you have a question? No, you? Okay. Oh my gosh, Rudy's here. Hi, Rudy.
Hello,
Don't
hello.
know CPM. Oh, Rudy.
How's it going, boys and girls?
Yes. Sure.
Kaypro.
Yes.
All right.
So we're gonna goof off with the Kaypro tonight and maybe do one wacky thing with it, which will involve DOS computers and like funky disk swapping stuff. It'll be
So
interesting.
you're not putting OS4 on it?
OS4? What are you talking about?
OS9? Sorry, I'm thinking Warp 4.
Yeah, no.
OS2.
No. On a Kaypro?
I don't know. You could do everything.
I can't. Are you trying to say I'm awesome?
Pretty much.
Okay, cool. Got a lot of questions in the chat here. Keyboard is so hipster, it goes all the way back to 19th century spleen. Okay. Is Kaypro emulated by MAME? That is a good question. That's a question for the Oracle, also known as Google. I wouldn't surprise me if it wasn't. Like, everything is emulated by MAME. Can a GoTac drive work on that? Yes, VHS, it can. Brute force isolation, questions. MFM 360K. Yes, this is a 360K dual-sided drive. Yep. What CPU does this have? So, the Kaypro specifically uses the Z80 CPU. That's all you need, baby. The good old Z80 CPU, which was, of course, Zilog's copy of the 8080, which was, I guess it was source compatible with it to some extent, but better and faster and a lot less expensive. So the Z80, along with the 6502, was one of the preeminent CPUs of the 1970s and 1980s. It's pronounced Z80. Thank you, Garth. Whatever. I'm not Rudy. I'm not where they pronounce Z's as Z's. Come on. So, yeah. So
We're in America.
What's that?
America.
Yeah, America.
America.
Number one. lies and slander. Anyway, it's metric or question mark. Yes. So yeah, this runs the Z80 processor. In this machine particularly, it's running at 4 megahertz. They had them at all different types of speeds and stuff. No problem. 64K of RAM. A little bit about the Z80 architecture and the 8080 architecture. It uses you can use a memory mapped IO, similar to the way the 6502 does, but it also has a specialized I/O function called I/O ports, where you could have 255 different ports that when you used a port instruction, it would put that port on the address bus along with setting the I/O pin, a specialized pin on the CPU, which would allow you to have addressable hardware without the hardware actually being in the memory space. So when you had a 64K machine, it would be all 64K in theory. You would get all of your memory. You wouldn't have slices of memory like you do with the 6502, where it's just sliced out for I/O. Like say on the Apple II, you've got the entire C0 through CFFF memory space is dedicated to the I/O space. In this, you don't have to worry about that. You can use those port things. Those are the major differences between the 6502 and the Z80. But anyway, this guy runs CPM. Okay, to talk about CPM a little bit, CPM is kind of the DOS of its era. Even to the point to where Digital Research and Gary Kildall, the inventors of CPM, sued Microsoft, claiming they stole CPM source code. And that was found not to be true. It was just a really, really good clone done by Tim Patterson of Seattle Computer Products called QDOS, Quick and Dirty OS, and there's history back there. But basically, it functions a lot like DOS. Or I should say, DOS functions a lot like CPM. So we'll get in here and I'll show you.
Like CPM is the father of DOS.
Yeah, kind of. You can think of it that grandfather, older cousin, maybe. So basically, here we go. We got CPM version 2, blah, 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 blah. And so I can do a dir, just like you're all familiar with. It gives me a directory. Programs can be run as their program name, as if they were a command. So if I wanted to do something with this floppy drive here, I could run dutil. It'll load off of the emulator over here. And then I can run disk utilities like formatting things and this and that and the other. Can I reduce this brightness and make it a little easier to read, maybe? There we go.
Joe, what's the
yeah. Oh.
What's that?
Go ahead, Javier.
No, I was going to say they actually read pretty well without that, but that's okay.
I was going to say, what's the speed of the Z80?
The Z80. Ha-ha! The Zilog 80. There you go. And this is running at 4 megahertz. This is the universal Kaypro board, which runs that at 4 megahertz.
Can you overclock it?
In theory, you can. However, just like many systems, the video subsystem in this is in lockstep with the rest of the system. So if you do that, you have to make modifications to the video system, or the screen goes wacky and does things. So we're going to escape back to the prompt. I'm trying to remember how you clear the screen on this. It's a special way to do it. It might be clear. Nope, I don't remember. CLS doesn't work, but whatever. PR/P. It doesn't know how to do that. /W doesn't know how to do that. It's pretty simplistic. Think of it as like DOS 1.0. It's very, very straightforward and simplistic. But it runs CPM. Now, cool thing about Kaypro, there's some history behind Kaypro as a company. So talking about the Kaypro, it was founded as a spinoff of Nonlinear Systems. Nonlinear Systems was started by Andrew Kay, I'm sorry. And Andrew Kay was the inventor of the digital voltmeter. So every time you see like a multimeter or anything like that that's completely digital and shows you voltage, he invented that technology. And in the 80s, he's like, computers are the next big thing. So he jumped off into the computer market. Now, the big thing with the CPM computers, a lot of people are like, oh, that's just a cheap copy of the Osborne. Not exactly true. All CPM machines are all very similar. That's kind of how they have to be compatible with each other, just like DOS machines were back in the day. However, the big thing with the Kaypro is that Alan, or I keep calling it Alan Kay, Andrew Kay, was able to do really tight software tie-ins and ended up getting like $1,800 of software packaged with every single Kaypro. So when you bought a Kaypro for $1,800, you were getting a $3,600 computer, which made the Kaypro the industry leader in non-Apple computers, if you want to call it that, in businessy, fancy, nerdy computers, whatever term you want to use for that, up until the point where the IBM PC came out. So this was the PC of its time, the Kaypro. It was number one, top of its class, best machine. So yes, that was basically what it was. Now,
Is that why they called it a Pro?
I don't know. It was K because it was K, and Pro because it was a professional machine. I don't know. So yeah, that's basically all that is with the Kaypro. It's a straightforward machine. If you have any CPM software, it'll run all of it because CPM is CPM is CPM. It's just like DOS is DOS is DOS. I was going to say something. I don't remember what it was. Never mind. Of course, Kaypro, one of the big issues with a lot of these CPM machines is that they don't have graphics. So this has no graphics capability. It's how can we put it? Character graphics, that kind of thing. This disk image is one I yanked off the internet from somewhere that happens to match the universal Kaypro board in here. So it happens to work, but it's not really the board for the Kaypro 1 exactly. It's kind of little different. I don't know, maybe it's weird, but yeah, lots of little programs on here for configuring the machine and doing this and that and the other, for formatting disks, for copying stuff. It's just, you can think of it as your basic DOS floppy disk. That's all it is. So yeah. VHS is asking, have I heard of a Kaypro XL? No, I have not. What does Google say about a Kaypro XL? Huh? Google?
I don't think they will have, because it was invented a lot later, isn't it?
What's that?
Oh, no, sorry. Forget about it.
The Kaypro XL. Yes. The Kaypro XL is basically a PC-based Kaypro. Yep. What, not even TRS-80 Model 1 graphics? Very similar, Thomas Armstrong. They're character-based graphics, where up in the higher ASCII set, depending on which one you picked, it was like the upper left corner or upper right corner, a little rounded circles and stuff like that. For example, this dutil program we just ran uses some of those character-based graphics.
Joe, I believe Control Z clears the screen.
Thank you. Yeah, so these little lines and blocks around here, character-based graphics.
Yeah.
So it didn't have graphics in the sense that you might be thinking. Think of mouse text on Apple II Enhanced. Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
I saw a TRS-80 at BCF, and I think it's a Model 1 or 2, something like that. And they have games, character-based games, isn't it?
Yes, they do have some games for it. Not a whole bunch. But there are some out there. Unfortunately, I don't have any games on this machine. And that's what everybody, does it have games? I'm like, I'm a businessman. I don't have time to play games. I'm busy writing the next novel.
I want to play games.
And that's how Tetris was formed, yes.
Yes. Maybe later, maybe a little bit later, we'll go through the process of trying to get a game onto this disk image or onto this floppy over here. Maybe I have a process for doing that. It's crazy. Right. We could try to use Kermit, but I have to set up Kermit client on my PC, and the serial ports in this thing are weird. They don't work right. Probably because of the board switcheroo and being the not quite right version of CPM would be my guess. I don't know. Last time I tried to use Kermit like 6, 7, 8 years ago, I couldn't get it to work properly. So yes, someone has done ASCII for Doom for sure for it. Yes. I mean, yeah, this can work as a terminal client. If you get the right terminal software on there, you can play Doom over the internet with it if you want to. So yeah. So let's, who has time for games when you have word store? Yes. So let's pop up and look at the main board here. I'm going to see if we can get you in here without too much shaky cam. Too much shaky cam. Ah! Dropped you. So we're going to flip this down so we can get close in here. Move the keyboard to the side. Keyboard. Zoom, 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 zoom.
Joe, does the unit have a fan inside?
Nope. It doesn't run hot.
Doesn't that board get warm?
Nope. Nope, not at all. It's just like a tiny, tiny little bit, but not really.
Yeah.
Nope. So this is the Kaypro board. This is the universal board, as they called it. Now, pretty much all the Kaypro boards are pretty much all identical from a low-level hardware perspective, but the board layout's a little bit different. The location of the ports on the back are a little bit different, but the main thing is later on in the Kaypro's life, when they were still selling multiple different kinds of Kaypros, they switched to this universal board, which they could just populate different parts and pieces in here to support the different sets, change the ROM to support the different hardware, change the BIOS on CPM to support that hardware, and then that was it. As we can see here with the universal, this universal board, in theory, these parts, most of these components up in this area could be installed to actually have a 300 baud modem built right onto the board. Cool stuff. These two chips here were used, or they're not there anymore, but these two chips here, and I think some of these were used for a real-time clock, along with a battery that would go right here. And then some of these extra chips in here were there to support that stuff as well.
Joe, sorry, I didn't interrupt, but I have a full, a very nice graphics card for your Kaypro if you want to populate and install it.
Oh, the Apple II? Alex, hey, Alex, how you doing? You subbed. Thank you. Woot, woot. Yes. The Kaypro can run Zork. People were mentioning that, I think. Yeah, it'll run Zork. It runs WordStar, which is the big program, and all of that stuff. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm a little rotund right now. I apologize. I just saw myself in the camera. I'm like, hide. But yeah, the real cool thing about this universal board is it's a fascinating thing I found out. There's a jack right here and a jack right here, or little ports that are not populated. That then these little pins here connect to this right here, this jack on the back, which is completely empty. It's not even silkscreen on the back. What this jack does, I found out later. What this is there were not enough layers on this board when you populate the modem to run the modem lines. I don't know why they didn't just put the port there, but to run the modem lines over to the phone jack, which is what this is. This is a phone jack. So those phone jack lines run from here on a little jump-off wire to get it from the jack to the modem. It's fascinating. But yeah, universal board, pretty straightforward. A common misconception is there's a 50-pin connector right here. And a lot of people are like, well, would one of those be like a SCSI controller or a hard drive controller? Oh, shut up. Stop. Hush. A hard drive controller or something like that you could, you just plug hard drives right into that? And the answer to that is no. This is an extension of the Z80 and an internal bus. So this is address lines, data lines, control lines, power, all of that stuff. So you could, if you bought an extra piece of hardware, you could think of this as an Apple II slot. So that you would plug your hard drive controller in either over here or over there, and your hard drive would plug into that. So this is a really cool place for, expanding your Z80. You could take something for example, from the RC 2014 project, which is a Z80 based project that also runs CPM, and convert it to plug into this port. And then you would have, modern flash hard drive storage if you wanted to. Like for example, the free HD project could also be potentially backported to this from the free HD is used a lot in the TRS 80 Model 3 scene, which again, Model 3 Z80 CPM machine, right? So very easy, well, relatively speaking, easy to convert that. So if you've got a Kaypro machine and you really want to futz around with it, right there, connect to that port. That's your processor bus right there. That's all 40 pins of the processor bus, plus power ground, the clock signals and all of that stuff is all right there. So yeah, I actually had that. I had the documentation of that, of what those pins are and what they do. I was going through it to try to figure out how that works. So yeah, there's like the schematic of the Kaypro. It's of the Kaypro 2/84. Very similar layout to the universal board here, but it shows what all those pins, those J9 pins do. They're just, all of that. And then this right here was the schematic for the SASI interface, and parallel interface, for what was called the big board, the JB Ferguson big board, which some people say that the Kaypro was a copy of the big board. So in theory, you could use this over-the-counter generic SASI, which is effectively the same as SCSI interface, slap it into that port, hackadoodle the CPM BIOS and maybe the ROM chip here a little bit, and you could have a SCSI interface for your Kaypro. And then, I don't know, use a SCSI to SD on your Kaypro? Wouldn't that be freaking cool? I think that would be super awesome. So,
yeah, to run WordStar, man, that would be awesome.
WordStar. Boring.
I believe you can run DBase on there too, and bunch
of DBase 2, baby. Mm-hmm. Yep. So here are some of the upgrades that I've done to the machine. Not too many. Most of the upgrades I've done were out of convenience or required repair. So we're going to come down here and show you that. So the main things here are just the storage. When I got this, it worked fine. Once I figured out how to make it work fine, whatever. But after sitting on the shelf for a while, the floppy drives started having problems. The motors died in them. I couldn't get them apart properly to get them oiled and whatever. And during the whole process of figuring that out, that's when I figured out, well, this is supposed to have dual-sided discs. It has single-sided discs. I need to fix the discs. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. So, yes. So I ended up getting replacement drives for it. I have those somewhere. Not that one. Stand by. Everybody look at my hind end while I bend over and get stuff. So here's that's the drive that was originally in it. Now, this is a single-sided drive. Fascinating story. This mechanism is the same mechanism that's used in many aftermarket Apple II floppy drives. The only thing that's different is the logic board. But anyway, the motors failed. I'm like, well, I need new floppy drives. I'm not going to put original single-sided in it. I'm going to upgrade it to dual-sided while I'm at it. And then I replaced the BIOS, got the right CPM, got it working. But in that process as well, I'm like, we need to get a floppy emulator for this. So I did a lot of searching, and this ended up being the floppy emulator I got. It is the Lotharic branded. These things are expensive. The Lotharic branded HXC floppy emulator, which is more geared towards like industrial applications. But at the time when I did that, this was really the only floppy emulator that was available. The GoTech didn't. I don't think it existed yet, or it was like an alpha. It wasn't really available. This is back in like 2008 or 9. It was a long time ago. But the GoTech will also work for this. I tried to get my GoTech working on this. I believe I did get I have like a stack of 5 of them that I just keep around for whatever. And I was able to get the GoTech working on this thing. But I had some issues and ended up finding out that it was my floppy cable was bad and I had to make the floppy cable, blah, 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 blah. So yeah. So those are really the only upgrades or changes, repairs that I've done to the machine. Other than that, it's a tank. It's like an Apple II. Basically, unless you put 12 volts on the 5 volts, Javier. Somebody yelled at me in that video recently, by the way. They commented on my video where I fixed your Atari. They're like, he ruined that Atari. I'm like, did you not watch the video? I fixed it. What are you talking about? You jerk. Anyway. But yeah, they're tanks. Like, unless you're like doing something incredibly wrong with it, there are no electrolytic capacitors. The power supply is a standard +5, -5, +12, -12 power supply. If it dies, you can literally get a Meanwell power supply literally the same one that Henry sells, the reactive microsupply, and just like mount it in there, and it'll work. It'll fix the machine. The
Monochrome name, by the way,
9-inch monochrome. You can replace that with any off-the-shelf standard 9-inch monochrome if that doesn't work, but they always work, right? It's indestructible.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like, do they make a parallel port storage device for the Kaypro? That's a good question. I don't know. I'm just starting to dig back into my Kaypro. It's kind of just been sitting on the shelf since I last fixed it. And I haven't really given it a lot of love. So I'm just starting to get into that research now. If they did make some sort of parallel port storage device, it would probably be some sort of weird, special, one-off, funky thing that they did. Something like that. Yeah, because the way CPM is, you can think of it as a monolithic kernel. You can think of it as being pre-compiled for the machine it's on. So if you add hardware after the fact or anything like that, it's going to be the program itself that you launch has to then support that hardware, and it'll be only that program doing that magic. Because the CPM's pre-compiled input-output routines wouldn't know about that new hardware you added unless you recompile. Havmaster, Hatari Buster, you're funny. Unless you reprogram or recompile the BIOS, or the driver, or whatever you want to call it, for that hardware, it doesn't know that the hardware is there. That was, in my opinion, one of the biggest strengths and also one of the biggest faults of CPM was that driver structure. You could throw whatever hardware you wanted at it, but you had to tell CPM what the hardware was, but you couldn't change it on the fly. You couldn't add it as the operating system was booting. It had to be pre-compiled from the machine it was done. So if you added hardware later, you had to like have the source code for the machine for your BIOS and then like no programming to make it work.
But that was a different time too, right? Back then, you didn't really add a lot of stuff. I mean, you got a Kaypro and everything in it. Off you went. All you need is a printer.
And that is true. That is true.
So no one really thought about
popular. I mean, for what is it? For 25 years, computers really didn't get much different or faster. From 1977 until about around when the Mac came out, 84, 86, in that era, they were 1 megahertz monochrome command line machines, and they just did not change. They didn't. There was no reason to add a lot of stuff. So yeah, I can see that. Especially if you're in a business operation, you want an appliance, right? You want a thing you put on your desk, you turn it on, you use it, and you work. And the Kaypros and the Osbornes and a lot of the CPM machines, I guess, acted that way. You know, they were just, you put it on your desk, you hooked it up, you serialed into the mainframe or whatever and did your thing. So
Joe, I missed the earlier part of your show, but it does not have a parallel port?
It does have a parallel port, yes.
Okay.
It has 1 parallel port and 2 serial ports on it.
Nice.
Yep. I managed to at one time get a printer to print something, which we could, for funsies, try, see if it'll work.
What did you print?
I think I just printed the directory. Oh, my keyboard stopped working. I broke it, everybody. Probably just unplugged in the back or something. Oh, time to hit the reset button. I don't know what I did.
Version 2.01.
Hey, Basid. Hey, Joe. Popping in for a few minutes. Got a busy Sunday night. Yeah. No worries. Yeah, I don't know. I froze the machine up. I don't know. You'll check out the stream tomorrow. Great. We're just goofing off and talking about Kaypros. I have literally no plan whatsoever other than talk Kaypros, answer people questions about Kaypros, and like plug stuff in and see if we can make it work.
Try that clear the queue, the screen. Try that command.
Same thing. I already did that, but I did it.
You did it? Okay.
Control Z, enter.
Oh,
yep.
I made that. Oh, good.
Rudy taught us that.
Rudy, finally.
Rudy, he's finally good for. No, I'm kidding.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if we
Put
can.
your weight.
First off, printer cable.
You learn a lot about CPM once you have a CPM machine.
It came with a printer cable.
Ooh.
Now I need a parallel printer. And I happen to have one that is relatively lightweight and easy to get to. Right here. This is the parallel printer that goes with my Tandy 1000. But it just happens to be here. I haven't plugged this in so long, it wouldn't surprise me if it explodes when I turn it on. And
Careful what you wish for.
nope, turned right on.
I know by experience.
So we plug in the parallel port-a-doodle and the parallel port-a-doodle back here. Now here is one of the cool things about CPM. CPM was somewhat, how can I put it? It was somewhat influenced by Unix in that all of your peripheral devices, when you would set up your system BIOS and said, this is here, these are at these memory locations or IO locations, those would then map to device names. So instead of having to know some weird, funky incantation to print, you would just do a redirect of something to something else. So if I wanted to show something on this printer here, I could do dir bracket PRN for printer, and it would just send it to the printer port. You know? So let me see if that'll actually do the thing. Apparently it does not. Is it a pipe character? I'm trying to remember what it was to do that.
I think it's pipe.
No, pipe didn't work. And when I did, you can see right here. Well, you
Sorry.
might not be able to see that. It just
Oh,
a file with the directory in it. So, yeah. Trying to even remember. Yeah, I don't even remember my commands here to make it do things. I'm learning along with you. You have a spare MFM controller for the Kaypro as it was used in the Kaypro 10. You do. Interesting. If you're wanting to talk about that MFM controller, pip to print a file. Yes, pip is like copy. That's right. Thank you. Peripheral interchange program, pip. Yes, thank you. Yeah, if you wanted to talk to me on the side about that MFM controller, shoot me an email. Go to jcm-1.com/contact and get in touch with me. Justin D. Morgan. So, yeah.
Oh, I see.
So, DIR. I'm typing the wrong things. I'm the worst person. So let's do CPM print directory. Pip command line. Yes. Pip destination equals source. Yes. So can you do that? LPT. It's not L, it's LPT. Or Control P.
Joe, can you do an echo from your screen to the printer?
What's that?
Can you echo from your screen to the printer?
Trying to figure that out.
Control I believe, turns on and off the echo function.
Well, I locked it up somehow, so I'm going to reboot it here real quick.
What's it clear again? Control X?
Control Z or Z.
Okay.
Z.
Z.
Pip destination.
Dead or dead.
LPT.
No, my machine.
Hit enter. Not enter. Pip LPT equals dir. Will that work? No file, dir. Well, it's trying to. Oops. LPT equals this PRN file we created. Sure, why not? No file. Nope. Because it's blank.prn, apparently. Nice. I am ERA.prn. ERA, yes. Thank you. ERA for erase. Yes. Thank you. We are learning all the things together and hanging out and being bored.
Yeah.
List except PRN, printer, yes. Punch list, yes. Yes.
Here we go. It's control. It's in the chat. Control P.
Control P. I did that and it didn't do anything.
Nothing.
Yep.
Is your printer on?
Yes. It's on. It doesn't have an alert or anything on it.
Do you have paper?
Nope.
Did you try to reboot the
It's
system?
pretty dumb. It'll just like do things. You just like do things and be like, okay.
Did you open and close your window?
You're funny. Now I have to remember how to load paper in this stupid thing. Goes this way. Doobie 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 doobie.
Doo-be-doo-be-doo.
Do, 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 do. Steal a sheet of this stuff. I swear I got the. I may have gotten it to work from WordStar or something. I don't remember exactly what I did. Please wait while Joe fiddles around with hardware for 20 minutes.
Doobie-doobie-doo.
It's got to go around this way. So how does that even work? I have no idea how this printer even functions.
Maybe that's why it's not printing.
Yeah, because I'm an idiot. It doesn't function.
But you know.
F it. I'm not futzing with it any longer. Print from WordStar. That would require me, Thomas, to have WordStar on it. Acid Rain, what is this thing? This is a Kaypro 1, the last Kaypro ever released. Retro bright my head. What? It locked when you did the Control P because the printer didn't respond. Thank you, Charles Ottman. Yes. Thank you. X on, X off. Yes. Never heard of it. Yes, Acid Rain. The Kaypro is a series of CPM capable machines that were popular in the early 1980s. They have the Z80 processor, 128 or 64K of RAM, and run the CPM operating system. It locked at the Control P because the printer didn't respond. Well, then let's see if I got a different printer. I got a billion freaking printers over here. Let's find a different one. Why not? Ah. Let's see. What other printer do I have? I got another one somewhere. You go up here. Let's see. Not in there. I know I have one. Stand by. If I can't find it in another 10 seconds here, we're gonna move on. Nope, not in there. Joe's boring mucking around in the background stream. Okay, well, we're gonna move on. I'm not gonna worry about it. We're not gonna worry about it. So I'm not familiar with the Kaypro CPM implementation. Yeah, it's this. What is this computer? Yes, everybody's asking. Frederick, roll back about 3 minutes, and I just told everybody. I'm not saying it again. No, but seriously though, Kaypro 1, last Kaypro ever made, runs CPM, Z80 processor, 64K bytes. So yeah, one of the issues you're going to have with these modern implementations, not modern implementations, what you're going to have with getting files to these machines are if you didn't have your original disks or whatever, where you got one of these floppy emulators and you have images, you got to be able to get files to the machine, right? These machines don't necessarily have easy ways to do that. It's not like we have on the Apple II or the Macs or anything like that, where there are these awesome like image manipulation applications or anything like that. So what typically will be is you'll download a file off the internet, or this is just a thing that I found with CPM machines. You'll go and you'll download a program off the internet for your CPM based machine, and it's just the file. It's just the application or the application in its directory set. Now that does make sense because that's very similar to the way you would do it with the DOS machine, because every CPM machine is different. So you're not going to have like a bootable floppy image with everything on it, because every floppy image is different. They're formatted differently. Every CPM machine's got its own little thing. So you've got to get those files you downloaded, and you got to get it onto an image file or onto a floppy disk. So the way you do that is there are programs that you run in DOS, and by DOS I'm talking about DOS. You can't run it from a command prompt on Windows. You can't run it from Windows. You got to boot to old school DOS 6 and run these applications and be like, here's my destination floppy disk. Here's my source file. Stick it on the disk. And the application knows the kind of floppy. It's programmed to know all the different formats and stuff. It'll detect it, shove the file in there. Then when you move it back to your Kaypro, the file will be on there and you can run it. So yeah. Applesauce might work. Yes, Eric says. Applesauce, you can probably make images. I'm not sure if you'd be able to write them, because Applesauce can make a low-level flux of anything at once, being able to write the flux back is a completely different story altogether. Lots of details in the way Applesauce works. It's tricky. Yeah. The last 8-inch floppies I had were for my DEC PDP-A. Can I have your DEC PDP-A? Can you ship it to me? I want it. Yeah.
Joe, don't you have a mainframe to plug this into?
What's that? No.
You don't have a mainframe?
I want one. Anybody want to send me a Data General Nova? I'd love to have a Data General Nova. Yes. Try to find out the parallel port device with stat or stat dev. Stat dev. File not found.
Stat.
Dev : sorry. List is TTY. So this machine basically doesn't know that the parallel port exists. Yep, so that's the problem.
Wow, it's beeping like a 2C.
Sorry.
I think we're so bored, he's just goofing off in the back. What does stat val mean? Mm-hmm. So we're going to zoom in so those wonderful people in the chat who know a lot more about the way CPM works can tell me things.
So there's no other output for the video on this thing, right, Joe?
Correct. This built-in screen is the only video. Although, technically speaking, the video coming out to this is a composite variant. So if you were to take the connector in the back here, put an RCA connector onto it, or split it if you wanted to, and run it out to like any old black and white monitor, it would work just fine. A color monitor might have a problem with it, like a color television. With AV mode might have a problem locking onto that. But any old standard black and white composite monitor will lock onto that just fine. It's your standard CBBS type of signal. It's not really NTSC compliant, but it's close enough that a lot of black and white monitors that were designed to be a computer monitor will just lock right on and be like, okay. Yep. So yeah, LST here, which is the printer port, is TTY, which is the same as the console. It's all TTY.
Yep.
How we change that, LPT goes to UL1, which is I don't know what. User-defined list device number 1. Yeah. So I would have to like check the config tool allows you to set the parallel port to LPT. Yeah. Config. Kaypro 4 configuration program. Like, I don't know. Change IO byte? So let's read it. LPT is the Centronic support. Yes. Video keyboard, serial port, SPT serial port, SDT serial data transfer port. Yeah, so it basically has 2 different ports in it.
I think
the physical time is meaningful or blah, 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 blah. What's that?
I think on the first page had the baud rate for your printer.
Yeah, but this is where we want to actually change it because right now the list device is going to the serial port.
Oh, right, by default.
I can set it to any of these, but right now LST, which is the printer port, or LST, which is the printer device, wasn't going to LPT, which is the actual Centronic's parallel port. Yes. Please enter your selection. Help I, Shift I. So I wanted to list. We wanted to change to the parallel printer port.
There you go.
Yep. And then exit the config program. Do you really want the requested changes? Sure. Press the red reset button on the back of the computer while my reset button is red. Is there just the one parallel port? Yes. Well, I already did it. Disk and whatever. Diskette and that. LST is LPT. Cool. Okay. So the next question is how do I send it?
Did you press Control P?
No. I also have to hook the printer back up.
I believe Control P will at least echo your screen to your printer.
Okay. Well, let's do that. Kind of like a teletype.
Yeah, according to the Google and the internets.
Oh, Google. Google knows everything. Ow, I hurt myself. The round knob on this is actually sharp and it hurt me. Do it. Plug in. Plug in. Yes. Plug this in. Turn the power switch on.
Doobie doobie doo.
Yes. Now I have to figure out how to put paper. Now I really, truly do have to figure out how to put paper in this thing. Like, I literally don't know how it's supposed to work. But that won't, see, that doesn't make it go past the thing. Like, it has to go here, like this. Like this. You guys can't see a god darn thing I'm doing.
Maybe it has to be a Kaypro printer. Kaypro approved.
Could be.
Kid tested, Kaypro approved. Mother's Day. Haha, joke. Yeah, it's got to go through like that. Which, of course, is going to be weird because multiple silly reasons.
What?
Weird printer.
Oh. Is Kaypro related to K-Tel Records?
No.
Okay.
How is that supposed to work? Because it's supposed to go all the way through and then pull up on the back, probably. Like this. It's supposed to slot this all the way through. What a weird printer. There we go. Joe figured it out. Badly.
That's a first, Joe. Gee.
What? Dude, I'm thick as bricks. So Control P, huh?
And then enter.
And I did enter.
And then dir.
Nothing. See, it's stuck, thinking that for all I know, this printer is busted. I mean, it's got power. It has no alert. The on and offline buttons don't do anything. Work. Because Joe says so. Hatred. The hatred level is high with this one. Okay, shall we try again to look for another printer? You guys really want to see a printer work?
Don't be hating.
What's that?
Don't be hating. Don't hate.
Yeah, I took the paper out and then it said alert. So, yeah.
Was the printer online?
You work in serial mode or some dumb thing.
Was the printer online? Like, did it come online?
I pressed the online offline button, but nothing happens. Jeez. I'm reading the dip switches.
Yeah.
Because I'm a dip. It's in parallel mode. Off, parallel. Yep, it's in parallel mode. Should try to hook it to my regular computer and see if it works. Are the printer cable keys ends keyed or only go one way? They only go one way. These are Centronics connectors.
Yeah.
They're old school Centronics connectors. They only go one way. For all I know, this cable's bad. I don't know. I have no idea. I swear I got this thing to work once. I think it's in one of my videos. Error buzzer on and off. 1 and 2 are up. On doesn't mean 2 means CR equals CR. Yeah, that doesn't really matter. None of those codes really. On means codes for IBM. Off means codes for Tandy. But that shouldn't matter, but we'll change it anyway. We'll switch that to IBM mode. Maybe that matters. Why not? Why not? I like the episode of Joe's Computer Museum where he messed around with the printer for a long time.
Maybe it needs a recap.
Yeah. Needs something. So weird. I can't get it to go online. It doesn't get an alert. It just doesn't function. It's like, nope, we're not going to do it.
I think the problem is the wrong color printer.
Yeah, it doesn't match. It's not blue and gray. Yeah. So there's paper in there. See, I can't get it to go online.
Yeah, there's something wrong with that printer. Actually, can it come online if you unplug it, like the parallel cable?
Well, you can see it's trying. Look.
Yeah.
Look, the moment I turn this printer on is when the console hangs up.
Yeah.
See? I turn the printer on. Console hangs. So it's trying to do something. Okay. Well, at least we know it's doing something. Your Kaypro's like, what's that beige thing? Yes. So let me hunt through my collection. You guys get to like watch me clamber around and fall and make a whole bunch of noise. I just remembered a printer. Stand by. Where are you? Oh, it's buried. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Want some boxes? You want a box full of boxes? This is my shipping center over here, with boxes and bubble wrap and crap.
Joe, if you don't come back in a few minutes, should we call somebody?
Yeah. Hold on. I'm digging it out. I'm getting it.
Javier, what are you working on?
I was trying to make my CPM machine work. It worked, and then it stopped working. So, hey, what's that?
This
the printer. Oh
is a
my
LaserWriter 4.
God.
Nice printer.
Still even has paper in it.
LaserJet 4.
Yep, LaserJet 4.
Yeah, very, very popular printer. Very good workhorses.
Yep. All right. Cool. So power switch. Self-test. Now we wait for 25 minutes while it decides what to do with itself.
Do you have toner?
It's got toner in it.
Paper?
Full of paper.
Cable plugged in?
Actually, because I wanted to see if I could make it work with an Apple IIgs, because it has a serial port on it. This is a dual port. I have also the PostScript mod installed. Yeah. LST is going back to TTY again.
Uh-oh.
Anyway. Yeah. LaserWriter, you're probably right. Diskette infect. Kaypro is killing the stream. Yeah. Stream is buffering badly. Yes. I need a line-by-line printer. Right? Right? Is that what I need?
Right.
Yeah. That buffering, I'm pretty sure it's not on my end. I'm pretty sure that's StreamYard having some problems. Diskettenfett means disc grease in German. That is awesome. I love it. I love your name already. As a fellow German with the last name of Strohschneider, I love it. Yeah, so it's getting data. Like every once in a while, you'll see it blink like it's getting data. Oops.
Maybe it's waiting for the printer buffer to get full.
See, it blinks.
It's receiving data.
Yeah, but but it never finishes because they're right. This is a page by page printer. Yes, keep during. Yeah, like that'll do something. LaserJet 74A. Yep. This printer is a workhorse. It will do everything all the time forever.
Except for print from Kaypros.
Yes. Okay, well, let's try something else. Let's go hunt for some other printer.
I think I can't talk. I think the printer buffer is too big, so it's just gonna fill up the buffer until it starts printing stuff.
Yeah, there you go.
Probably has more memory than 10 Kaypros.
Oh gosh, line printer, line printer, line printer, line printer.
What about the printer you're using for your blue SCSI documentation?
That's an Apple Talk image writer too. There is no way in like 7 hells that's ever going to print from this thing. That would require layers upon layers of emulation. Call HP tech support. I'm sure they'll give you a laugh. Read the chat. Set it to Control Z or whatever the end of printout signal is. Yes. I hit Control C. That didn't work. Control Z just clears the screen. Justin.
Maybe it's a call Mary Kaypro.
Mary. Ha ha ha. Did I have a box of Commodore 64 stuff that has some old printers in it. One of them might be a parallel printer. Stand by.
I thought the Commodore printers were serial. Could be wrong.
This particular one I have, I believe it's a parallel printer, and it used a special interface buffer. Ooh. Hit the feed button on the left. I did. That didn't do anything. Hey, look at that. Parallel. Now that I'm thinking about it, this might have been the printer I used with it because it was the one that worked. I encourage everybody in my stream, after the stream, to go watch my entire Kaypro series on my channel to find out if I was right. Watch it several times. Put it on repeat in the background. My stats will appreciate it. Okay. So,
and hit that like button.
Yes. Does this thing need that cover? Yep. Hi, everybody. Look at my back. I am the best videographer ever. I don't know what you're talking about. That's there. Power switch. Ah! Hush. Paper out. Yes, it is. Okay. So I need paper. Requiramentos a papel. I don't know. I don't speak Spanish. Wow, this is the exact same, nearly the exact same engine as that other printer. Feeds the same dumb way.
I was going to say that, yeah.
The joy from the 80s.
Yeah.
I hate the 80s. Oh, wait.
We had so much fun in the 80s, yeah. Oh, finally I got a problem here.
When the only thing you had to buy for your computer was paper and diskettes.
Yeah. Is this not even aligned correctly? It also doesn't help that my my dot matrix paper is so old that it falls apart. So the tractor feed doesn't stay attached to the paper. But whatever. Online, ready. Control E. Did you see it? Did you see it move?
No. Yay.
It prints! Hey, this ribbon even still works.
But from the Kaypro?
Yep.
Oh, cool.
So now you can do your 1980s homework.
Yes.
Nice. Yeah.
8 bits are all you need, baby.
That's right.
Cool. So that works. Kaypro Print Shop. Yes. I wonder if I can get it to print something like really stupid. Like the results of the dutil program. I don't know if that'll work or not. Nope, you don't like that. Did not work at all.
Nope, just cracked.
Yeah, I just completely disconnected the printer when that did that.
So what printer is this, Joe?
Yeah, this is Joe's Random Printer the Third.
Wow.
I believe it's a Star.
It looks like it's not a Startronics.
It is a Star Micronics.
It is a Star Micronics.
F10. Yep.
Funny.
See?
Funny.
Mm-hmm.
SG10.
You know, it was the Stargate that came after the first 9 failures. Get it? SG1, SG10. Get
No, for you. No.
So yeah. That's the crazy Kaypro machine. What else can we get into tonight? Paper dust and all the sensors. Yes. Download some ASCII art. That would require me to be able to make this thing download stuff, which in and of itself is probably a 4-hour endeavor. What else can we do with this thing? I mean, it's a DOS machine. There's not a lot. I call it a DOS machine, but that's basically what it is. Do you have some Kaypro specific games to show off, like Fly Kaypro? I have downloaded Ketchum, which is basically, it's basically Pac-Man. But I got to get it on here because this image is a blank image. So I have to go through an entire process to do that. Can you get images for the HXC drive? In theory, yes. But again, the HXC drive emulates the raw layout of a disk. And if the BIOS plus CPM combination on this machine doesn't support that layout, the machine won't know what to do with it. So that's the big issue. So what I'm thinking I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to format this disk, this floppy, so that it's a usable floppy. I think it might be already formatted. And then put it in an old school DOS machine and use 22 disk to copy a file onto it from the internet, which in theory might work. I could also maybe use Kermit, but I'm not sure I could get Kermit functioning correctly. The last time I tried Kermit on this, baud rates and stuff, like it sort of kind of worked, but kind of didn't. Again, because I think of the mismatch and mismatch of hardware in here, it doesn't, like the baud rate is like 287 instead of 300. It's not quite right. So it drops packets. I can try it. So let's put it up to the chat. What do you want me to try? Do you want me to try to send files to it using Kermit? Or do you want me to try to send files to it by hacking the floppy disk and putting files on the disk? Put your desire in the comments. I can even do, I think I can do a poll thing. Can I
do a poll thing? We're talking like a pole, not like a pole thing like pole dancing, right?
Yeah, no.
This is a family show.
Book. There you go. So there should be a poll that should pop up there here in a second. So everybody drop your comments in the poll. In the meantime, I'm going to go get something to drink. And if Rudy and Javier wish to entertain people for about 30 seconds while I do that, they can do that. I will be right back. I tripped over my cable.
Entertain us, Rudy.
Yeah, now that Joe's not here, we can talk about him behind his back.
That's right.
So did you get CPM going on your 2C?
Actually, I'm going to show this. this is my CPM Z80 Apple IIc, and I just found out that there's a bad RAM chip over here.
Oh,
It's giving me some issues, so I just did, some tests. But yeah, this is the beautiful. What's the name of this one? It's RAM ZRAM Ultra 3.
Let's show that to everybody. You get here. You're showing stuff people off. Oh, the
nice.
VRAM Ultra 3. It's like the Ultra 2, but more Ultra.
Exactly, it's 3 times Ultra.
So it's basically like the Ultra 2, but also has the CPM card part of it.
Exactly, it has memory, has a clock, and then it has the ZRAM, the CPM.
So you're going to remove that Varda battery before it explodes, right?
No, actually, this is a new one. I bought it.
You.
I bought that Varda battery brand new, like a couple of years ago. I replaced it with the original one. Actually, I wouldn't do it now, but now that I know that they're not that great, and it costs a lot, because I wanted to keep it original, but I don't know if I did right. But anyway,
Javier, do you need to have a certain ROM level to make this work on a 2C?
I don't think so. No, this goes on top of the chips, the CPU and the MMU. So I
Basically,
don't think
it just interrupts the system bus, so it can take over the hardware and do what it needs to do.
So if Joe's Kaypro dies, you can always send him this and put it inside the Kaypro.
Actually, I want to get that submarine game from the TRS-80 for my Z80, man. I don't know if it's possible.
Dude, I don't need no CPM on no Apple PC. Dude, I've got CPM for my Apple III. I've got like the worst operating system for the worst Apple that was ever made, so it's fine.
Joe, switch so we can see your big. Because now you see my ugly face here. Switch it. There you go. Now show
the board again.
Card, please.
Let's see that board again. Joe?
Yeah, they were looking at my ugly face, and poor guys. People were like,
all shiny and pretty. The Soft Card 3 reproduction card, which allows you to run CPM on your Apple III.
Me once. Because the Apple III is useless, and this is going to be useless plus.
Yes, there you go. But at least with the soft card, you could actually run software on it.
Right.
Programs.
Useless, but still software.
Programs. There's like 5 Apple III programs that'll work. So, see you, Thomas Armstrong. People are saying hack the floppy. It's 50-50. We are 50-50 on the floppy or Kermit. So, any other votes? Any other votes? No other votes?
CPM plus Satan mode.
Dude, I'm telling you what, man. I have to get the Titan card set done. That would be really cool. Can you imagine that? Running a Soft Card 3 with the Titan card set to make your Apple III a CPM Apple II. It's like the biggest why, but yeah.
So now you need to make a card that turns your Kaypro into an Apple III.
Gosh, how would I even do that? I would take the CPM guts, the Kaypro bits out, and just shove an Apple III board in there. Done.
That's the easy way.
This poll keeps flipping back and forth between floppy and not floppy. Like I looked at 55%, and then I looked and it was 50% again.
Vote early, vote often.
I'd send you some Kaypro software, but I haven't figured out how to extract ARC files on the Mac. Has anybody ever figured out how to extract ARC files on the Mac? Tonight at 11. Kermit, 57%. Kermit's winning. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm waiting for the poll to end on what I've already chosen to do to give you all the illusion of choice.
So, Joe, is Kaypro the only software for the Kaypro?
Wait, what?
Sorry, Kermit. Is Kermit the only software for Kaypro?
No, I'm sure that there's X modem and lots of other similar software out there. So, but it's a factor of I got to use what I have. Because if I need X modem or Z modem or Y modem or anything, I have to use Kaypro or the floppy method to get it to the machine. Because this is all I got.
Yeah.
It's all that's in there. So Kermit won at 57% apparently. So we're going to try that exactly once.
Let's do it.
So Kermit for Windows.
Do it.
Apparently, Kermit 95 will still work on Windows 11, Windows 10.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
So let me see if I can download that.
Everyone I know has had a problem with Kermit, one way or another.
Yeah, Kermit's just it's funky.
It's kind of froggy.
Yeah.
I went to go download it and it says you don't have access to you don't have permission to this resource. Kermit 95.
No resource for you.
How to download it? This section is obsolete. K95 is no longer reliably available from any source. Great. Well, that's not helpful. Here is a Kermit application. I don't care which one it is. Sure, just infect my computer. I don't care. Sure. Yes. Just install. So it installed. Where is it? Kermit. Click button. Cool. Can I share this screen so I can show you guys? Share. Share screen. Share screen. Select window or screen. That. Sweet.
Kermit.
Look at that huge mouse cursor. So session, connect, Kermit, configure session. I have no idea. Configure communications. Baud rate. That's great. 4. You'll use COM 1, 2, 3, or 4. But you know what? That's fine because I have a literal old school COM port in my computer. So let me try to connect to doodle things up here. So we're gonna do this instead. Can you I want this, thank you. So we're gonna give it the old Cleveland reach around here. Do that. This will go here for now because I need to get to the back of it. I need to find my serial cable, which is all the way back here. This goes into serial port. I don't know which one it is, so we're going to look at the back and see which one it says it is. I just dropped the machine. Oh no. Modem serial printer output. I don't know which one it is. We will choose modem. Why not? Why not? So we're going to do this and do this. Okay.
That keyboard looks really heavy.
It is. This keyboard is its own computer. Seriously, it's just like IBM keyboards. It's got an 8048 microcontroller in it. I may or may not have taken it apart last week to see what was inside.
That's pretty cool.
Great. So, Kermit for Kaypro 1 with ADM3A. Great. Okay. Apparently that's sending it across. I don't know how to use this application at all. I don't know. So let me go back to this. No. Share screen, share Kermit. Let's see if we can get this working. So first things first, I need to, figure out my COM ports because I don't remember what they're named. Devices and device manager. There we are. It's COM1, I think. Ports. It's COM1. Okay. What are you doing? We can't hear. What?
What?
Pirated.
What? Pirated? What?
Somebody pirated you.
Oh, okay. And one, COM1.
I don't know what I'm saying.
Cool. Kermit connect.
Oops.
How does it work? People tell me how it works. Oh, I also have to have the cable plugged in. Hold on.
Yeah, that would help.
There we go. Cable's plugged in now. It's not. It doesn't do anything when I do that. This is one of those weird.
Probably have to reopen it.
It needs to be like run as an admin or something. Let's see. Share screen. I got to reload the screen share because I closed and reopened the program. Configure communications 2400. Sure, it's probably 300. I don't know. It's COM1. Yeah, whatever. Like it doesn't local serial. It's not actually doing it. That's not helpful, Rudy.
Is that helping? Oh,
Pro
sorry.
what? Trooper J. Yes. Yes. Like connect doesn't do anything. See that? Does nothing.
Is there? You have to go maybe in your configuration of the Kaypro to see what your setting is are set to.
What did I just do accidentally? There we go. There's multiple Kermit programs on here, so we can try different ones. So I apparently have to connect to a host on a selected port. Okay. Connected to remote host. I don't believe you. Let's try a different program. I have.
Sorry, Joe. Is this a Kaypro 1 or 2?
This is a Kaypro 1.
Oh, right.
That is not what I wanted to do. Stop screen, share screen, share screen, share screen, share screen. Every option is share screen for this stupid application. We're gonna connect at I don't know.
What about share screen?
8 and 1. It might be 7 bits. I don't know what configuration this is supposed to be.
But in your configuration app on the or util on the Kaypro, does not tell you your settings?
In theory. I'm also, you can see I'm having problems even opening the port.
Ah.
Yeah, it won't open the port. See, I'm error. Error.
Error.
Set it to 300 baud. I did. RTFM. I don't know how to read the manual. I don't know how to read. Come on. Incorrect function, error 1.
Don't you have an old DOS machine?
What's that?
Don't you have an old DOS machine, you said?
Yeah, I do, which is the process I would need to do the floppy version anyway.
So you might as well hook that up to see if this works, and then if it doesn't, you have it set up for your floppy conversion.
But I don't have the programs on that either. That's the problem. Is like I don't have it. I don't know.
Just plug the blue SCSI into it and let's see what happens.
Yeah. Sparks. Yeah, incorrect function. Yeah.
So your Windows box does not like the physical serial port, I mean.
Apparently. But that's not true because it was working, but now it's not. Okay, well, stand by. I'm moving some stuff around. This has to plug into this. There we go. Ooh, well, we're getting garbage. Haha, we have comms. So let's change some port speeds to see what happens.
Justin says 300 baud might need 2 stop bits.
There you go.
Aha.
Cool. So that works. So in theory, we can close that application, reopen this Kermit application. And do that. Stop. I have to reshare the screen again.
Once you build your RC 2014, you can use your Kaypro as a terminal for it then.
Yeah, there you go. Damn modern computers. You're right. Kermit configure communications. 300. We know it's 300. It was 8N1 was working before. That works. This application, this Kermit application just doesn't function. It doesn't work. It doesn't do anything. I hit connect and nothing happens. Yeah. I have no idea. Sure. Yeah, it just doesn't. It don't do. I hit connect and nothing occur.
I don't like it.
Ooh, wait. This one doesn't like. Remember, I am having problems with COM port 1. But the problem here is that this I can't select COM port 6, which is my USB COM port.
Oh.
So this just isn't going to work. Okay. I give up. We're doing the floppy thing. We're doing the floppy thing, guys. That's what we're doing. Not full screen layout. Stop screen. So here we are. We're going to do this. So we're going to do the magic thing. Can you reassign the COM port numbers in device manager? Somebody is saying. Maybe. Let's find out. I haven't messed with that in a billion years. Properties, port settings, advanced, COM port number. I can set it to COM2. Would you look at that? It's been a long time. Ha ha ha! Cool. Let's try it again. Because if there's anything I like, It's self-flagellation, self-punishment. So I got to click all the share screen crap again. Okay. It doesn't do anything. Configure communications, COM2, 300, 8N1.
Oh,
it does work. So if I type hello over here that you can't see on this screen, over here you can. That's not what I meant to do, you stupid thing. Look. Stop! You stupid! Stop it! Look. Yay! We have comms established. Great.
all right.
So,
He said we have comms.
send file. Send queue. File. I don't know. I've got to go find this file. It's in one of these frickin' folders somewhere. Downloads. Extract all. Sure. There. D downloads catch 'em is where I need to be. So I need to go to D downloads. Here. Add. Sure. Send. I don't know what it's doing. If it's doing anything. Sending packets, bytes, retries. I think I may have had to send receive a file over on this side. Stop. Yes. So you guys can't see this screen. That's I want that to be one of the layouts. Why can I not pick the screen share as one of the layouts? That's what I want. I want this to be here. Can you be a thing? I want a thing. I want this to be a thing. I can't do it. Like that. Anyway.
It's doing something. You see it changes?
Yeah, I mean, I have comms, but I'm trying to get like
Continue.
to get the Kaypro to stop. It's like in some funky mode. Control C to return. Control question mark does nothing. It's like stuck. So we reset the Kaypro. And it was Kerm 409 was the one I had used. And there was a command here to receive PCEIVE, receive. It's in receive mode on the Kaypro. And so if I go to connect and hit send, and hit send. It's sending. Sort of. Kind of. It's kind of doing it. Sort of. Okay, great. So, like, for the next 20 minutes while this sends file, what do you want to talk about? Old school serial transfers. Wow, that Kermit, it's it's not easy being green. Screen, baby. I love it. So, I wanted to go, I want to see how big this Ketchum file is. I have no idea. It is 29 kilobytes. Yeah.
At 300 baud.
It's going to take a while.
See you next year, folks.
When do you set up the BBS up on it, Joe? Never. Never. Although CPM is a really, in theory, is a very reliable and solid operating system. So, yeah. It's like using Y-modem-G. Yes.
Well, if you have a BBS set up, you can then send and receive files.
Yes. I wanted to do that so you can see what it's doing. So you can see it from the CPM side. There you go. Can you like zoom way in? Oh my giddy aunt. That is going to take forever. But it's working. It doesn't have any retries or failed packets yet. It's going. So the interim, we can talk about dumb crap. Oh man. So what's going on in your guys' world? What are you working on? We'll just do another mini retro repair roundup while we're sitting here.
Well, look, I have my hat here.
Oh man.
Javier, what are you working on?
That damn 2C, remember?
Still?
Yeah, I can't find my RAM. So I cannot replace a RAM if I don't have RAM.
Oh, right.
Oh, it's got bad RAM in it?
Yeah.
It's empty, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna replace all of it, but hopefully only one or two. But we'll see. But I cannot find my good RAM, so I'm gonna have to order a new one. So
yeah, but Janko's website's still down. Wherever will you find it?
Oh crap. Okay, so I think I'm gonna stay with my bad RAM.
Let me know how many.
Eric is asking about who's working on a TI 99 4A.
I got a TI 99 4A right now. Actually,
show us, dude.
I was working on this.
What's that?
Ooh.
I found it. I bought these like 20 years ago. I don't know, a long time ago. It's called oh my god, something. It's the replacement of that big thing of the TI 99 4A.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a hard drive. It has a serial and 32 megs of RAM. And you connect it to the power and then connect it to a TI 99, and you have a hard drive, a floppy emulator, I think.
It's a floppy emulator.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, they didn't have hard drives.
I'm gonna have to talk to you all about TI 99 stuff. I've got a 99 4A with the sidecar and all that junk that connects to it, and none of it works, and it's all freaking broken. And
well, yeah, I know a little bit. It was my first computer, so it brings me memories. This is
good or bad.
yeah. No, actually, I haven't been able to make it work. I know it works. It shows up, but it doesn't do anything else. Because I don't know. It's not the machine is me. I don't know how to work it, but
It shows up. You can see it as a floppy disk, but you can't like do anything with it.
Yeah, because I think I need to format it, but I don't want to format it right now because I think it came with programs, so I don't want to erase everything. So I got to find out how to read it.
Figuring out how the TI-99 system works.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So that's where I am right now.
Gotcha. All right, we're at 5 kilobytes. Oh man. Learn basic on it. Yeah, Eric.
That's what you got to do.
Yeah. Light a candle, man.
Light a candle, and it will go faster. It will work.
But the computer or the candle?
Well, now that we're showing off, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
There's my baby.
Is that your original?
No, I wish. No, I bought this a long time ago, and I found it complete. It has some paddles. I want to get some. I just found out that there's some TI-99 paddles that have like a little round thing at the end, so I'm going to look for them. Got some cartridges, and this is I think what you have, Joe. It's a speech synthesizer.
Oh, you keep talking, and I'll show you what I have.
Sorry.
I mean, what else do we have to do while we're waiting for Kermit to Kermit?
So, Javier, does that thing open up and down when it talks?
Yep.
Right. Wrong.
Speech synthesizer. And yeah, I'm actually getting a thing that a cartridge, TIPI, TP or something like that they call it. That's a Raspberry Pi that you put inside. We replace it, the interiors of this, and you put a Raspberry Pi, and it will do like a hard drive and Wi-Fi modem. And oh, look at that!
I got the whole thing. Yeah.
That's right.
You wait. You keep talking.
Yeah. So that's what I'm gonna get. I'm gonna get that TIPI, and I'm gonna play with it. I don't know. I haven't used a TI in what 40 years. So, but it's nice, and I like the one that has a metal. I don't know. Oh, that's it. PB,
Yeah.
PB or something like that.
The PEB. Mm-hmm.
I love that thing. It's beautiful. It's wordless but beautiful.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And this is what doesn't work on mine. It's got issues. I don't know if it's the cable or what.
That little thing replaces all that.
Really?
This replaces all that. Yeah.
I want it.
Oh, that's the name. Nano PB.
I'll trade you.
I mean, I love honestly, just to have it, I would love it. But I don't have space. I love it. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Honestly, I would like to have that and the original the original monitor.
Yeah.
The TI-99 monitor is beautiful too. But and these things replace everything because that has a card with 32 megs, has a card for the floppy driver, and then it has a floppy over there. So and then it has a card for serial and all that. So this replaces everything.
Javier, is that TI-99? Is that a composite out?
Yep. Well, yeah, it has a weird connector, but it's composite. Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not a friend of the Tiny Comp.
So it's not a 4A.
Yeah, it's a 4A. Yep.
So what is the other one? The case where the case is not metal. What is that one?
That's the same 4A, but they just did it because I think it cost them a lot more to make it in metal. So they made it in beige.
Cost reduced version.
Yeah. And this is the connector in the back. But it's just a connector. I did this cable and it just, has an audio and video out.
Nice.
And here's the connector in the back. Where is it? Yeah, this one over here.
Because I just I got my TI-99 4A a couple months ago, but
Yep.
only it didn't come with anything, just the computer and power.
Yeah.
But it has a different case. It has the cost reduced case.
Beige, yeah.
But I don't have any programs ready for it, so interesting.
I'll send you a cartridge if you want. They're cheap. I'll look for one and that I got doubles and I'll send it to you.
Smells good.
I wanted to show that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I just got. The TI or TI Raspberry Pi interface.
TiPi.
TiPi.
Bye.
Storage, network, and device solution. Anyway.
Mhm.
Blah, 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 blah. In the Meyer Genevieve 9640 family computer, which was basically the same machine. Good luck getting a Raspberry Pi right now to run it.
Oh, I got tons.
Yep. Except for blah, 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 blah. The Brewing Academy, they've got lots of cool things. I got something from them recently. I'm trying to remember what it is.
Honestly, I was looking at that and actually I forgot your name, but somebody from the people that are watching right now, I contacted him through Twitter and asked him, and he pointed me the right direction to these guys. And I bought the TIPI, but honestly, I'd rather get the what is the other one? Oh God, the Final Grom. That it's a cartridge that you put in, and you put an SD card, and you can put all the cartridges over there. Everything that appear for the TI-99.
Gotcha.
And it's better because the TIPI is nice, but it's more like a hacking thing that you can connect. It's a hard drive or a floppy drive emulator, but there's not too many things for floppy. Like games. And then it can connect to the web, but again, it's not too much you can do with that. And on the other side of the cartridge, it has all the games, so you can play all the games.
I'm trying to remember what I got from these guys previously.
I got a from my Atari 600 XL. I got, what was it? The
keyboard membrane or something?
No. It's like a Uno cart, or it's a cartridge you can put all your programs into.
Oh, I got one of those.
Card.
Yeah.
Like a flash drive. I think it's called an Uno card or Unicart, something like that.
Atari ST?
For the Atari, maybe the Atari 2600.
Yeah. Yeah, this one.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, that one. I got something like that.
If you have a 2600 or 2800, it's definitely worth the money. You put everything on it, it comes up, little menu, just pick what you play and go.
Yeah.
Cool. I should get one of those.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can use your Tiny Comp to convert your Atari 2600.
Which I've already done.
I should do a video of doing that, of installing that Tiny Comp 2600, because I have the 2600 over here that my boss gave to me. He gave it to me because it was broken and he wanted it fixed, and I fixed it and made a video on it, and that ended up being my most popular video I ever did.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it's got something like 22,000 views on it or something.
Wow.
It's an ASMR video of me just fixing it. And then I'm like, boss, I fixed it. Do you want it back? And he's like, no, you can keep it. I'm like, okay. So I've got the 600 over here with the keyboard controller and paddles and joysticks and like 60 games and all of this other stuff. But with this thing, it's just like, whatever. You want every crappy 2600 game that was ever made ever? All like 4,000 of them? Thank you, Video Game Crash. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got it because my first 2600 didn't come with any cartridges. And they're so expensive. I was looking around. People wanted like $30-$40 for like, like
the entire used video game market has gotten crazy.
It's crazy. So I got it, and I found a ton of them online for free. I just put them on, and it worked. I got my Atari 2600 working, and then as soon as I got that, I found on Kijijis, like eBay here in Canada, and for $60 I got a complete 2600 with paddles and 80 games.
Mm-hmm.
So I sold off like, I think it was like 70 odd games at $20 a pop, and it made some good money.
Yeah. It's your fault. You're the one who's inflating the market.
Pretty much, I guess. But once you have this cartridge, what more? Why do you need all the other cartridges? Unless you're like, like you're a purist, you have to have the cartridge.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's great, but I don't really care for the cartridges.
Now try a Kermit transfer of a 300 baud acoustic coupler. Don't cough. No. We are not introducing modems to this process. Here's the funny, this thing says 1 retry, but on the Windows side, it says 6. So I'm hoping...
You couldn't find a smaller program.
I just wanted to show you guys a game. Chris has a 1972 Magnavox Odyssey 1 that you oh yeah, that's one of the first video game systems ever made. Yes.
Nice.
Yes, that would be awesome. And Eric Rangel is saying, play ET on Twitch, to which my response is, no, watching this transfer is more entertaining.
Yes.
For me, more entertaining for me. It might be more entertaining for you to watch me fail at ET over and over again, because you can't not fail in that game. Whatever.
I think it's the worst game ever written for any platform, really.
Yeah.
Not just a 2600.
Right?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Mylar screen overlays, yes.
Since we're showing off stuff, here's what I'm playing with this week.
That is a little nano attached to something.
Maybe you can't see it, but it's called the Romulator.
Oh, yes.
And we will have the creator of this on our on our retro repair roundup.
Yes.
And what this does is it's a little unit that goes on any 6502 system. So like your Apple II, VIC-20, PET, and you pull the processor out, pop it in here, and you pop this in the socket. And with the dip switches and configuration files, you can tell it to say, okay, I want to use all the ROMs and the RAM on this unit and boot up. Or I can say, okay, I want to use all the RAM and all the ROMs except for, let's say, one of the, basic ROM or one of the ROMs on your computer, and it will emulate everything except for that one ROM. So you can use it for doing diagnostics on your systems to determine which memory, which ROMs are bad.
Nice.
Without having to fool around with a lot of different things. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So the
thing is that
individual RAM and ROM sections,
yes,
and run tests to see what fails or doesn't fail. Yeah.
Right. Or you could use it like, let's say you have you don't have all the ROMs. You can just leave this in your computer and just say use this, and it'll just emulate all the ROMs. You just download the ROM files and put them on here, and off you go. And I have to assemble this little unit. With this little unit here.
Only 9K to go, guys.
Yeah.
Is that the ESP8266 chip?
This is a Wi-Fi adapter that you can plug into the unit. And then from there, you can then just, Wi-Fi from your desktop to the unit to change settings. You can even, when you run this, you can halt the CPU and download or view the content with this on your screen.
Ooh, nice.
And the other cool thing is that you can use this unit with your Wi-Fi adapter to view the screen. So, for example, on a PET, you don't want to be powering on and off the unit all the time because the monitor is connected to the PET, right? It's not a separate unit.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to be, putting all that extra, power on and off to the monitor, abusing it. Well, you can just use the video. You can just disconnect that and use your own laptop or your desktop to view what's coming on the screen. So it's pretty neat stuff. I'm playing with it, and I'm working with Michael, the owner of the BitFixer site who makes this, to see if he can make a version that works on the 65C02. So for the 2E.
Cool.
Because he has a version he's working on with his Z80, which probably could work on your Kaypro. Well, he has it basically working on a Timex Sinclair.
Cool.
So And then he'll be working on his other one, which is for the 6510 processor, which is the 64.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to see if we can bump the 65 CO2 ahead of those. So you get it for the 2E.
And that should be a relatively easy mod for the 6.5 CO2.
Yeah.
Hardware mod, you flip a switch, flip a couple switches, and it turns on and off the whoop-de-doos.
Yeah, I think it's I like the idea. I think it's a pretty cool project, and it's not that expensive. I think it was like 40 US.
Pretty good.
I don't quote me on it. You have to check the site, but it's not expensive, and if you're playing around with this stuff, it's a great tool to have in your part of your arsenal of tools for diagnostics. I mean,
Joe likey. Yes, that's nifty.
And then the other thing I'm working on is I have to figure out what kind of box I can send Joe my Color Classic board.
Yes.
Sorry?
Double box it.
The triple box it, yeah.
Yeah. Put a lot of padding, and that's it.
Yeah, I have to.
Office there, Rudy.
Yeah, you like that, eh? That took me about 25 minutes to put all this brick in. It's that.
Yeah.
kind of brick, Actually, my wife helped me do this because she said, always put something different. It's just white. It looks ugly. It's like, okay, what do you want? Let's put some brick. It's like, sure. Good old Home Depot. Thank you. So what was I saying? What were we just talking about?
The board, the SE30, the Color Classic board that you're gonna send.
Oh, right. So I need a recap because I have it. I've had it for about a year and a half, and I thought, okay, the battery is gone. I took the battery out and I mailed it to Ron. I know he loves batteries, so now I just have to get it recapped. And I don't have a microscope, so I figured the only person who I would trust is Joe. Yay! So he said for the low price of $19,999, he would do it. So
you could also send it to Australia, and can happen to like me that you gotta wait like 3 years for it.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, I sent them a 2E, and the cost you won't believe the cost.
I know the cost. Yeah,
I'm here. It's
I get some stuff from them. Yeah.
I got about 2 other 2E systems for the price of shipping. It's like, what?
Yeah.
But I did because I said I would.
Yeah. Eric's asking if we've tried the RS-232 serial Wi-Fi modem from the old net. I have not. Have you guys?
My modem.
No.
I'm guessing by the sea of dumbfounded faces that nobody knows what he's even talking about.
No, I haven't one of those for the Apple IIc, but not. I don't think that's what he's talking about.
Let's look it up. So let's share the screen. Share screen. Share screen. Share screen. Share screen.
Your computer is a little bit. Yeah, there you go.
It's on Tindy.
Oh yeah, no, not that. I don't have that.
There's the link doodle to it if anybody wants to grab that.
Looks nice though. Mine has a little screen.
He's got blinky lights.
Rudy, you're muted.
Yep.
No,
that's the exact.
Okay.
How's that?
Yeah, that's better.
You.
Damn you, X modem.
Yeah, see, this would be. Go ahead.
This is the exact unit that Eric was talking about that does the Wi-Fi connection for the Romulator.
Mm-hmm.
So you can buy that there, or you can buy it through BitFixer.
Good.
Yeah, it's really cool. I thought, what a cool idea.
Ooh. So getting this to support TCP/IP stack, so it'll do PPP connection. That is cool.
Oh,
yeah,
awesome. Chris is asking, am I heading over to Hamvention and Xenia in 2 weeks? No, I'm not, because this is the first time I ever knew it was a thing. And I already have probably have plans during that time period, and I'm also not a ham, but that's fine.
I'm a bacon, not a ham.
Because there's always lots of cool hardware laying around. So, am I sure Ketchum fits on the disc? 29K on a disc with enough that probably has enough space. I don't know. Wouldn't it be funny if we got to the very end and it didn't fit? Because if it doesn't,
no, it would not be funny.
I'm not going to say goodbye. I'll just disconnect.
Yeah. Very interesting thing about Xenia, Ohio. So, Xenia, Ohio has a really cool. You know what? I'll see if I can show you guys.
Let's see.
I'm going to see if I can show you. Do I have the application installed on my computer? I do. I do.
Be back in a minute.
Did the stream just hang or just me? Hello, Joe. We can't hear you. Okay, at least you can hear me. Thanks, Eric. Joe is frozen. Yes, he is frozen. Javier is probably gone to the men's room. Joe, don't tell me your live stream just blew up your. Oh, he's back.
Yeah. Yeah, it came back.
What?
Stop it. No, seriously. The Ethernet port on this insanely expensive, highly overpriced 32-thread, 32 gig, insane computer randomly dies. The Ethernet port will just die. So I've got to reset it every once in a while. So anyway.
Is this a name brand computer?
Yeah, Joe built. It's a Joe built computer. Joe Built Corporation. But yeah. But here's the cool thing about StreamYard. I came back. The stream kept going, and I came back.
Yeah, we were here talking about you. We were saying that the Kaypro probably just cacked and took down the stream.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I have to reconnect my Droid cam and see. It says receiving on that screen. That's not valid. Because it's actually done. It finished right as it died. So yeah. Come on, Windows. I want my Droid King client. Start. There we go. Completed.
Completed, yes.
Yeah.
But does it work?
Yeah, I don't know. Let's find out.
Your Kaypro is more reliable than your brand new PC. Yes, old computers can be a lot more reliable than anything net new.
Yes. Where'd Havo go?
I think he went to the men's room.
Gotcha.
I think.
So it's type buy to go back to CPM, exit to CPM. Okay.
Want to maximize your screen?
Oh, huh? What? Where? Yes. Brain fail. Joe brain fail.
There we go.
Here. Let's try.
Lovely.
move the keyboard here so that I can get like zoomed. Trying to get it all on screen here. And I'm failing miserably. Close enough. Let's see. This is where we see if it copied correctly. That beeping you hear is the sound, the drive head emulator in the HXC is on. It emulates the sounds. Catch 'em! Yeah! Shall we do a one-player game, a two-player game?
Shall we play a game?
Instructions. Move the cat. Specified in the configuration, whatever that's supposed to mean. Specified up, down, left, right, A, Z, and these two over here. Got it. Okay, so it's right here.
Yep.
To do it. Okay. One-player game. Yeah.
This actually back in the day must have been totally amazing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, just mind blowing because like what?
Ah, I went back too fast. Nice try, pal.
And for folks who don't know, this is probably used more than WordStar.
Yep, probably.
Well, you got power fluctuations happening here.
Power fluctuations, what?
Yeah, power is kind of going a little wonky here today for some reason.
In Canada, power fluctuations?
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
People are like, you should play this on Twitch. I'm like, no.
Joe, if you hook up this to a phone line with a modem, we can play two-player, no?
Does that work?
I can just dial up your home number and connect and play.
I wonder if that's actually possible.
That's an interesting question.
CPM is redirectable, so to speak. Ah, got me. You're out of here, Daddy. Oops. I am the worst at video games.
What? How'd you get that?
That's what he downloaded for the last 6 hours.
Dang, this is nice, man.
Actually, it's pretty cool for CPM machine.
Does that work on my CPM?
In theory, it would, yes.
Apple IIc, yeah. Wow.
And the upside with your CPM is you can probably just use CiderPress to move the file because it's Apple.
Which CPM do you have? Oh, I mean on your
yeah, on my Apple IIc. It's an Applied Engineering CPM version. I'm gonna read around. Let's see if that. I don't know if that TRS-80 is CPM. Is it? Do you know?
It depends. CPM is available for the TRS-80, but it also has like 4 different other like DOSes that it has.
Oh,
like TDOS or TOS?
Yeah, TRS DOS and new DOS and.
Oh, maybe it was its own DOS. Yeah, because they have a very nice kind of text.
Why did the board not clear?
Submarine game that I love.
I got all the dots,
Chum.
and yet I still lost. Okay.
It worked. Can you save it in the floppy?
What's that?
Can you save it in the floppy?
Can I save it to a floppy?
Yep.
With this program? Probably.
So you don't have to load it again?
Well, yeah, I saved it. It's saved on my flash card.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
I can copy to the floppy.
Nice.
So it's
Yeah.
pip pip destination equals source B colon it's backwards. You have to remember that. It's
Yeah.
destination equals source.
Nice. Very nice.
Still going. Half the speed of smell. To this day, I am still convinced that absolutely no 8-bit computer in the world has a faster floppy interface than the Apple II. The Apple II floppy interface can move data faster than modems. What is it? What's its maximum speed? Its maximum speed, theoretical speed, is like 120 kilobytes per second. It can basically, in theory, fill the entire floppy disk all at once. It's like that fast.
Yep.
It's crazy. It's just like it'll just do it. Yeah.
So was, yeah.
Yep. So if I were to go to B, there it is.
Nice. Yeah, I was oblivious of that, that a Commodore and Atari floppies were so slow at that time.
Configuration program missing. Oh no. I forgot to copy.
Well, I understand is the Commodore floppy drives are serial, but they have their own processor and memory and so on in the drive.
Yes.
So why I don't understand why would they spend the money to put all that additional electronics, then just go parallel? I don't know.
No.
But the computer itself only has a serial port, not a parallel port.
There's a lot of history there, actually. So the Commodore 64's floppy drives go all the way back to the PET.
Yes.
As far as the low-level comms go. And the PET just didn't have the capability to do anything super whatever. So in the context of the PET, that configuration made sense to do with serial. That's the only port it had and all of that. And the serial port itself didn't have bootstrapping capability, so to speak.
Right.
So it's not like it could just like search the serial port and boot off the serial port. You had to send a command to the serial port to tell the serial port to do something. And they had this, they had all this wedgie layer or wackiness on top of it. Joe, you didn't copy the DAT file belonging to catch him. I know I didn't. So that's also why because the serial port couldn't bootstrap. That's why the floppy drive basically has its own CPU and operating system in the drive.
Yep.
So basically you're just like, hi, floppy drive, I'm too dumb to do file management. Send me raw data stream. I execute data stream. So the machine itself has this very, very basic capability to take a data stream and execute it. And the drive handled everything else. And then Adam McGee, hey, Adam, I didn't see you there. And so, yeah, basically, both you guys are basically right. Adam, there was a bug in the C64 ROM that also hindered the floppy speed. It wasn't solved in time for shipping units. On top of that, the 6526 chip that they used for serial comms had a timing bug that caused it to drop bits.
Yep.
If you used it in automatic mode, basically, if you used it in asynchronous mode. So they changed that to be in bit bang mode, where the CPU was like, send a bit, wait a random amount of time that we know would be secure, send a bit, wait. And it was a last minute hack before it all went out, right? So that's why the Commodore 64 speed is so freaking slow. And then you have all these aftermarket upgrades to fix it, because they found out ways to use like the status line as an extra data bit and stuff like that. And even then, like like if you use Jiffy DOS or something, you're replacing the actual operating system on the floppy drive itself. along with a small wedge in the machine itself. And together, they supplanted most of those speed problems while maintaining compatibility.
Compatibility.
But you could use a flash, or not a flash cart. You could use a speed cart, like the Epic Fast Disc or whatever it's called.
You can also get like Jiffy DOS.
Yeah, and that they just do a kernel hack, which decreases that timing speed, so that it can send bits faster, basically.
Okay.
For my units, I just use a cartridge. There's several out there. I use the backbit cartridge. You put SD card inside, and it's got a lovely menu system. You can copy programs or files from the floppy disk to the cartridge, like rip them to the cartridge, and vice versa.
Cool.
So it's cheaper to get that than to find floppy disks and format them and all that stuff, and it's way faster.
And that's what the Apple II didn't have, cartridges.
Yep.
You see? The other ones, Atari and Commodore, had cartridges, and Apple never had cartridges at all. So.
Yep. It's interesting why they didn't put any cartridges, but because that's a lot of money on the cartridges. All the software came on a cartridge. So
at that time, I was envious of my friends that had Ataris and Commodores because they had cartridges, and I was like, yeah, man, I would like to play the game and all that.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, now that I know that your backup is still going, your copy, but at least we know that the download worked. So I am going to say good evening.
Sure.
And have fun. And we shall talk to you all later. Don't forget, Retro Repair Roundup on the 15th.
Sunday the 15th, next Sunday, everybody. And we're going to have a super awesome guest on to talk to us about the Romulator.
All right, kids. See you later. Joe, thanks again for the invite.
Thanks for stopping in. Thanks for being on and keeping folks company while the random disc copy took a million years.
I would have came on sooner if I knew this was going to be this much fun.
That's right.
All right. Bye, guys. Bye, everyone.
Thank God he's gone.
Thank God. Jeez.
We love you, Rudy. You know we do. Yeah. So that's pretty much that was going to really be my Kaypro presentation for the evening. I really didn't have much else to go on. This is in lieu of the see you, Rudy. This is in lieu of the script I wrote for my Kaypro video, and I didn't want to do a scripted video. I didn't feel like doing it. I just didn't feel like doing it. I have more fun doing the live streams than sitting down and reading a script and writing a script and trying to edit it and all of that stuff. I don't enjoy it anymore. I rather just play with the hardware. And this way we got to play with the hardware, and I got to hang out with my friend Javier and hang out with all these cool people in the chat and do the thing. So, and also hang out with my cool friend Rudy as well.
That's right.
Yes. Messing around randomly is much more entertaining. Well, thank you. Yes. Eric's Edge, are there any Kaypro emulators? I don't know. Let's ask Google. Kaypro emulator. I would think that there probably are. Oh, yeah. Virtual Kaypro computer. Yep. Mm-hmm. Here's one. There's one for you. Yep. Yep. And let's see, does Kaypro main Kaypro? Yep. Mm-hmm. Well, is that a Joe on a candle? Javier, show them the Joe candle.
The other way, yeah. Here we have our Joe on a candle, and this is Saint Joe that is showing a beautiful motherboard, and he's blessing it with his hands and saying, yes, I bless you, and if you like me, nothing's going to happen to you, and all your problems are going to go away. So that's it. Whenever you have a problem, just light it up.
Light it up. Light it up.
Okay. St. Joe, please bless me.
Does it smell like leaking caps? Hey, no leaking caps.
Yeah, it does.
I've only ever had one reefa die ever in my shop.
Never.
I promise never have them again because I've replaced them before that can happen.
And if you're in a bad mood, then get the Ron one.
Grumpy Ron candle.
My videos. Watch my videos.
Yeah.
And I don't have mine anymore because I gave it away at BCF, but it's okay. I'll do another one.
Sodium said if I also have a better setup for live streaming, like my desk, I'd love to do streams over actual recorded videos. Yeah. And that's the trick is, honestly, the trick with that is to use your old cheap smartphones. If you still have them laying around, put the Droid Cam app on them and just use those as video inputs to OBS, and then use OBS to switch screens. You know, here I can show you. That is the wrong button. Share screen, share screen, share screen, share screen 2. Yes. Yeah. So hi. So this is my OBS setup, you know, and so I've got Droid Cam, and I've got Bench Cam, which doesn't show anything but my ass at the moment. You know, I've got the Scope Cam with my bench setup over here, but then I also have another scene, Scope Cam, with the Droid Cam. So I have all these different scenes I can pick to show just different things, so I can control what I want. So yeah, so the face cam, you know, is this camera up here. But then if I want to go to a side cam or a bench cam, I just switch to that, and that's this camera right there. See? So
I should do that.
It's literally it's my previous smartphone with the app installed. That's all it is. And because it's Wi-Fi, all I have to do, as long as the battery is plugged in, it'll run for an hour completely disconnected. So I don't have to have a crazy cable. This won't run for an hour because the battery in its ass, but I have a super long, well, you know, you guys can't see. You can't see. I've got the super long extension cable. So I can just move this thing anywhere I want, right? And that's all super cheap because it's using funds you've already, how can I say, invested in. You already bought the old phone, reused the phone, right? We can turn off this. Because space is limited and because they also tend to be cheaper, this tripod isn't a tripod.
Yeah, you break it.
It's a mic stand, right? It's got a nice heavy base, and if you want it to be even heavier, you can pour plaster of Paris or concrete in it and make this super duper heavy so it doesn't move. And then because it's got that small footprint, it fits in my small space really easily, right? I can just set it over here. It's out of the way, and it's done. It doesn't have this big fat footprint, right? So it's cheap. This thing cost me $24. $24 for that mic stand. And it was cheaper because it was white instead of black. I mean, you know, it's just cheap. I'm the cheapest human being on earth. Not because I have to be, but because I don't know. I'm just cheap. I don't spend money unless I freaking have to. And so when I do spend money, I'm not buying all these fancy cameras and all of that stuff, you know, for the most part. It's just I'm reusing junk I already got to make it work. True. I mean, I'm a retro guy. Look at all the freaking junk I've got. I can make this crap work, man. Right? The only thing I've really purchased new for my entire setup here is this camera right here is a 4K camera, which it's a 4K USB camera. I was tired of, because every time you go online and get an HD camera, the problem I was having is you get it, but it's really technically like a 720p camera. Yeah. It happens to put out an upscaled 1080p signal, so it's blurry and fuzzy and crap. So I'm like, I'm going to get a 4K camera because if they're doing that, at least I'll get my 1080p and I'll be fine. But this is actually 4K. but I'm only outputting it 1080p, so it downscales it internally the other way, the good way, which makes everything nice and pretty and sharp and anti-aliased. So that's the only other new thing I've ever gotten for my setup was the Rode mic, so that I can walk around, move around, and this is the local. No, sorry. That's the mic I use. It's just piped in. It's wireless, but right now, the other side, this side right here, actually pipes into the computer. So if I wanted to, I could put this mic on and go out in my front yard and check my mail and talk to you the entire time I'm doing it.
Wow.
Rip headphone users. Yeah. Those are the only two new things. Everything here is just old stuff.
I got an old GoPro. Can I use that one?
You might be able to. It depends. Some of the GoPros can work in USB host mode, and it'll just work like a webcam. And if it does, you can just plug it in, and it'll be a premium camera. It'll just be another input, just like any other input. And I used to use I had I've got a whole bunch of old phones from a billion. Is this even on? No, it's dead. A bunch of just old phones I've been using over the years and collecting that I use for. That one's dead. And not plugged in either. That I've just used as my cameras. I already have the phone. I've got this $600 supercomputer in my pocket. I'm not going to buy another camera.
Yeah, that's a good idea, man. I'm also a little bit. That's why I haven't put in too many videos anymore, because it's a lot of work, man. Oh.
Yeah, the editing videos is
editing is.
You have to script it to at least to some extent. You got at the very least you have to have an outline so you know what you're going to do. Yeah. Then you got to record it. Then you've got to. There's coordination too, like. If your audio setup in your room sucks like it does in it's a big open cavern in that direction. So it's echoey down here. Even with all this hardware back here, there's an echo. So that's why I have to have the extra mic. But with the extra mic, I then have to have two streams recording at the same time. I've got to have my camera stream and then my microphone stream. And then when I edit it back together, I've got to line it all up and get it removing the ahs and ums. Yeah, Eric. Yeah. Or in my case, you just don't care about it. But then too, you've got a script. You might be able to see right up here, way back there is my outro that I have in case I don't forget it. But you have a script. You have it printed out behind you. Or you got the teleprompter, and you're recording that. And it's like blah 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 flub shit. Roll it back. Keep recording. Go, and it's a pain in the butt. I've become kind of an unfan of the scripted content. I love these streams because I can just jump on, hang out, whatever happens. You get to see me in my weird whatever, and I get to see you. And anyway, sorry, I went off on a tangent answering a question about doing a live stream setup. But anyway. Javier, you need to do more live streams. We don't see you do live streams as often.
I haven't done it because I'm just, I don't have cameras and all that. But I'm gonna set it up. Because I'm tired of doing those videos, and I got a bunch of little projects that maybe would be easier to just do live streams.
Sure. Yeah, that's what I found too. Is it's I want to play with the toys and share my playing with the toys with people. And back in the day in the early part of YouTube, before live streaming was really a thing, that's what you did. You recorded it, shared it, and whatever. But we're live. We're sitting here. We're chatting. I can see people asking us questions and saying things in the chat, and you and I are talking, and it's just it's like we're hanging out and having a live video discussion about this stuff. And there is no work. You're just playing. You're just doing it, right? So we can do that, and I can share my stuff, and you can share your stuff, and we can talk and chat and have fun, and do the thing. And yep. Zodium. After the J stream with Justin, I'm keeping a collection of fun clips I can just play on demand if need be because hilarity. Yes. Jay loves to do that too. He will, like he did with my thingamaboo video. He just finds clips. Was he the one who also took the clip of Prada from Mac Yak falling off the table? But just need a place to do a live stream, which is tight enough. Disconfet Tidy. Look, man. Look. It do you watch Mac 84? I've not seen your name before. Do you watch Mac 84, Steve? Because if you watch Mac 84, his is worse than this. Way worse. His basement is 8 times the size of this, and it's stacked floor to ceiling, wall to wall with just a mess. Tidy is not like, don't worry about it, man. Just like seriously. Tidy, like, do I have my address or any customers' addresses out now? I mean, tidy. Like, what is tidy? Like, what is it? Like, it's not a thing. This is not a thing. Right? It's not extant. It's not. Yeah. Don't worry about it. just do it. Just hang out, have fun, and make sure your personal information and nobody else's personal information is somehow on the video, and that's all you got to worry about.
Yeah.
Like there's a live stream a couple months ago. Steve accidentally he accidentally showed his address on live stream. He had to like cut the live stream and edit it out before re-uploading it. Poor guy. I'm like, Steve, everybody knows where you live now. Poor guy. You don't have any space on your desk. Then now that, sir or madam, I can't help you with. I can't help you with that part. That is an issue you have to solve. But even in Steve's case, like, he doesn't have space on his desk either. He just puts it on top of whatever's there. Like the time he put something on top of something and lost a floppy EMU for 6 months. It doesn't matter. Just do it. Is Joe going to build a Blue Scuzzy? I don't have any Blue Scuzzies to build. I don't have any orders because I have 0 stock at the moment. So I can't do it. Yeah, I can't do it. Javier, are you going to join us on Tuesday?
What happens on Tuesday?
We are potentially going to be doing a game stream on Tuesday.
Oh, okay, cool. Yep.
So there's a little gaming community we have.
Yep.
And Ron suggested maybe we could stream on Tuesday, and we might do that.
Okay.
Joe, I will order one right now. I don't have any stock. I'm out of a couple parts. I'm waiting for some parts. I thought I had more parts than I did. I'm sorry. I got the box. It's back there. It's got almost everything in it.
Sucks to be you.
Yeah. Might as well talk about some of the other stuff I've got. Again, I've got the replacement keyboard encoder.
Yeah.
Here, I'll take it out. I will show you the replacement keyboard encoder. This is the revision 1 of the keyboard encoder. Because it requires me to put a couple bodge wires on it. But that's fine. It still works. So, and this will be of interest to you, Javier, maybe, because it's an Apple II thing. Here it is. There it is. Yeah.
Nice.
This replaces the MM5740 AAE encoder that are in the Datanetics keyboards in some early Apple IIs and even in theory some Apple I keyboards. Yeah, I just reverse engineered the encoder based on the data sheets and the documentation and all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And lo and behold, it works. But yeah, there it is.
Nice.
It's based on my previous encoder for the AY5 3600, which is every other Apple II in existence.
So basically you have one that works for all of them now.
Yes. So I have one that works for all Apple IIs and Apple IIIs that aren't Datanetics, and then I've got the one specifically for Datanetics. So there, as I said before earlier in the stream, there is an option out there for that that you can purchase from a person in Belgium or something like that, but they don't ship outside of Belgium. It's not like they don't ship outside the EU or outside of Europe. They don't ship outside Belgium. So if you're like in France, you can't get it unless you drive and go get it. So, and that's fine. Everybody has their own reason for doing things the way they want to do. But that was the only MM5740 solution out there. So,
by the way, you heard about the hack?
What's that?
On Bulgaria?
What's that?
The Plamen put something that there was a hack in Bulgaria that they hacked the mail system, something like that, and they cannot they had to stop international something. It was weird that
Wow.
hackers get into the Bulgarian mail system.
So they could only do internal mail. Wow.
Something
Crazy.
like that is
Yes.
weird, man.
Adam McGee is asking me, did I find a Datanetics keyboard yet? No, I have not. Again, this one's borrowed, which is what I used to develop it. Gentleman by the name of Ian let me borrow that in trade and be like, if you let me borrow your keyboard to develop this keyboard encoder, I will let you have serial number 0. You will get to have this as a repair. And so that's that. But no, one of the reasons why I decided to stream is because for the last 2 days, I've been doing this. I've been creating a Datanetics keyboard from scratch on a perf board so that I can have something to test the chips in. Why Adam's asking about that is because I was asking a lot of the Apple II forums, and I need a Datanetics keyboard, and the sitch is, like, I can make these keyboard encoders, but every single one is hand assembled.
Yeah,
After I hand assemble it and program it, I need to be able to test it to make sure it works before I ship it out. Because the last thing I want is to ship out a broken product to somebody. I'm not like that. Right. I don't have polka dots all over my advertising. So I need some way to do that. So either if I get an original Datanetics keyboard, I'm fine. But finding one of those is just hard as hell to find. They're relatively rare because they were only on some of the very first run Apple IIs, especially the ones with the what's called the raised power light. And they're non-extant, right? So I just have to make one. But anyway, he's asking, are the encoders for sale yet? Technically speaking, Adam, yes, they are for sale. They are on my website. I am not going to link to them right now because if somebody buys one, I can't until I return this keyboard to this gentleman. I could, in theory, test it and send them out, but I don't want to advertise that until I have a working solution. So probably this week, I'm going to be finishing this up and then doing it. It's funny. I was on the phone with my mom earlier today for Mother's Day, and I was going over the schematic, and I'm looking at they have inverters and stuff in the schematic that don't need to be there. Like whoever designed this keyboard was dumber than me at electronics engineering, and they're from a keyboard manufacturer in the 70s. Like half of this circuit doesn't make any freaking sense, but whatever. See ya, Diskin Fet. Disketten fet. Disketten fet. Yes. Disketten meaning diskettes or single diskette, feminine, and fet meaning fat or grease. Disketten fet. I got it. I finally figured it out. I will buy one of the encoders so I have a spare for my Datanetics. Yes, I will send it to you once I can start selling them. Mm-hmm. Yep. Somebody asked... Yeah, Justin Morgan. All I can tell you about the Blue SCSI, Justin Morgan was talking about the Azul SCSI, and now it's called Zulu SCSI and all of that stuff. All I can say is, yes, Azul SCSI did a bad, and they were instructed that they did a bad, and they changed their name. I won't say any more than that. So now there's Zulu SCSI. Did Javier get his Ace 1000 running yet?
Oh, look.
21 people still here. Thank you for all stopping by.
So I got these at BCF. Oh, I don't want to break it. You see it?
Yeah, it's just a plain board.
Yep.
Wow.
Completely bare. Somebody took out everything.
Oh, that's right.
Or never was.
Group? I think I saw that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they were selling it. They actually got it. The guy that sold it, he got it in one of those ham radio things,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks like it has never been used or something. Although it has like a little thing over here in the corner,
Mm-hmm.
it maybe had been used, but
Mm-hmm.
it's completely unpopulated. So I'm gonna have to find out what was in where. And I think this is a Mac Plus, basically, isn't it? An Apple II Plus.
Yep, Apple II Plus. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
pretty much.
So
So it's just a factor of finding the chips and stuffing them in there.
Right.
You can try to get period accurate chips if you really want to. That would not be my suggestion.
Nah.
I would suggest going with HCT logic because it's easier to find.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to make myself. Let me show you something. Now that you were talking about that, I got something that I'm gonna be doing later.
Oh, is that an Apple One?
Yes, it is.
Replica One. Nice.
Where is the replica thing? Oh, here. Where?
Other way. Other way. There you go. Yep.
So I got it, but I haven't been able to work on it. So that's another project.
Chris A850 has Franklin factory service manuals. Javier,
What?
this is the guy we need to ask. Chris, do you have the factory service manuals for a Franklin Ace 2000?
Or 500.
Do. Or
and if you do,
or 2200, any of those Ace 2000 series.
Yeah.
Please.
With sugar on top.
We've been looking for this for literal years.
Yep.
Oops, didn't mean to hit that. You are a factory service tech. Dude.
We need you.
You have.
We need you.
The manuals for the Franklin Ace 2000, 2100, 2200.
500.
What's that?
For the 500 too.
Yes. You have your your Franklin Service School manuals. Okay, so you and I and Javier and a whole bunch of people, we need to talk because the Franklin Ace community has been looking for these manuals for a billion freaking years. The 2000s are a thing as well.
Right now. Yeah.
The reason I say 2000 because those are the big ones we're looking for because it's not online anywhere on the internet. There are no schematics we can find, no technical documentation for this machine, and we're trying to develop replacement parts for it. And it's a big black box. Yes. And Justin B. Morgan too is like, we need those to be archived. Yes.
Please, with sugar on top. Yeah, we need them. Yeah.
Yes. So like, absolutely. Yes.
Please.
You only go to
please.
Yes. If you got them, get in touch with me. Go to jcm-1.com/contact and send me an email.
Please, yeah. You will do the community a favor, and also you can get some perks if you already have some.
Dude, I will. Dude, if you have the documentation here. Franklin didn't put out much on the 2000. Yes, I know they didn't. And that's the problem. We've been looking for this for so long. There was one person once on the Apple Fritter forum that said they had all of the technical documentation for this. Somebody immediately responded and said, "You do? Can you get it to us?" Then the person disappeared and has gone.
And we put things on Twitter, on archive.org, everywhere. To if somebody has some, that please, share. Let us know what we can do to get a hold of it. We don't want it. We just want to copy it or
we want to professionally preserve it wherever possible.
Correct.
Get it scanned, get it put on archive.org and
get back to you if you want it.
We
just need a copy, yeah.
And then I want a photocopy copy of it so that I can develop parts for the Franklin.
Yeah.
Since you're an old Franklin tech, I'll show you what I'm working on. Javier knows what I'm working on. There you go. I have created, by copying the original board, figuring out how it worked by creating my own schematic from the original board, then rewiring it, I've created a small form 512K RAM board for the Franklin 2000. It uses fewer chips, fewer RAM chips.
It works.
And it works. And so it's going to cost less to build it.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take up less space. I'm using HCT logic wherever possible to use less power. Yep. But having the specs will help us do other things like properly reverse engineer the RGB and RAM port configurations so we could effectively access them like a pseudo aux slot, like you might do for the Apple IIe, and then make aux slot like stuff.
Yeah, the slots properly access them, and yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be really, 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 really cool.
Also, somebody.
Once they're properly served, can we get him a candle?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yes.
You get 2.
Yeah. Very interesting thing. Javier, did I tell you that I figured out what was going on with my Franklin?
No, what happened?
So, long story short, here's the story. I'll go all the way to the beginning. The Franklin folks wanted somebody who knew how to reverse engineer and or copy and clone boards to make a clone of this memory board. Javier saw it, talked to me, and said, Joe can do it. Okay, great. So I had somebody from that community send me their board to clone. I cloned their board. We put their board back together for them and then gave them a spare board as a thank you for letting me clone it. That's typically what I do when I do board clones. I'll give you one of my clones as payment. I also sent one to Javier for testing because the two of these people, just like with the Data Negus keyboard, I didn't have a Franklin 2000, right? But they did. So I sent them boards. They tested them. They worked fine. That's great. Awesome. Yes, Adrian is a good indeed. Adrian is a good guy. Yes, he is. So anyway, so lo and behold, during this process, what happened is this very rare machine came up for auction on eBay. And they were like, well, Joe doesn't have one. Maybe Joe wants this one. And so they were discussing it in the Apple II Infinitum Slack channel about the Franklin Ace. And then somebody was like, I don't know, maybe this, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. But then what happened is they noticed that it was in Worcester, Ohio. And I'm in a little town called Mount Vernon, Ohio, which is 45 minutes south of Worcester. So it's like right next door. It's like some sort of weird, like divine providence or some crap that this thing shows up right when I'm trying to reverse engineer this board.
Yep.
Okay. So I go on there and I'm like, other people start bidding on it. And I'm like, I'm not going to tell you not to bid on this, but I'm literally within driving distance of this. Please don't.
Do not bid on it. Yeah.
Please don't. I'm not telling you not to. I'm not going to break rules. If you want it, fine, whatever. I'll outbid you. It doesn't matter. I'll win it anyway. But I would rather win it for an affordable number and not like $2,000. So everybody's like, okay, whatever. So I won the bid. I won it. I drove up to get it, and it was cheaper than normal because the gentleman didn't know you had to have the keyboard plugged in to make it work. If you don't plug the keyboard into the Franklin Ace 2000, it garbles the screen. So he thought it was broken. Anyway, so I get this machine, and these brand new memory boards that I sent off to Javier and the other gentleman don't work in my Franklin Ace. Spent 2 months working on the thing on and off to find like 4 bad chips, which had nothing to do with memory. They just happened to be bad, but they also had to be bad in gates of the chips that weren't used for the machine, so it didn't really matter. And found during the fixing of it, let me step all the way back. The main problem was that it would corrupt the auxiliary memory. So my aux memory would always test as failed. Fine, whatever. So I was trying to clear out as I was replacing chips. I was using the oscilloscope, and I found signals that were weird. And I would take out the chip to see if the signal would clear up, and then put the chip back in. There was one socket that was being particularly a pain in the butt. I couldn't get it cleared no matter what I did. So I tried to use hot air to melt the solder in some of the socket holes, but when I did that, the board delaminated. And when it delaminated, it popped some of the solder out from a via that was underneath the CPU, underneath the socket, and I didn't see it, which happened to bridge across 2 address lines and caused the machine to just fail. Spent 2 months looking for that crap. Finally found it. Got it all up and running. Everything's working. Great. Maybe that was the original problem. I don't know. I replaced a whole bunch of chips that tested as bad. I don't know. Fixed it. It still didn't work. Still fails the test. Still fails the memory test. Did all that only to find out that one of the irreplaceable custom logic PAL chips has failed. So that's what happened out here. So that's why I still have your board, because I'm borrowing it.
So I sent him my board. Yeah.
So yeah, as part of this, he sent me his board out of his Franklin so I could use it as a test bed to see what signals are supposed to look at it like. Again, because there is no schematic. Mm-hmm. It's not like I can say, okay, the machine is doing this weird, wacky thing. I can look at the schematic, get an idea of what to look at. No, I'm just blindly probing pins, looking for pins on the board that are floating, that shouldn't be floating, and then going across and cross-testing it. Does this pin actually connect to something? Is this an unused gate? Isn't it anyway. So now I've got a dead PAL chip in my Franklin that works perfectly fine as long it will work perfectly fine with the exception of the extended memory of the video of the memory card. It works perfectly fine for 80 columns. It works perfectly fine for double high res. All of that. It does not work when you try to send the CO73 switch to the card to switch into that extra memory mode. It does it I don't know what with it is wrong. And here's the thing is that this PAL chip is a special combinatorial PAL. It's like a 16 input AND gate effectively, or 16 input combinatorial logic gate. And there is no PAL, GAL, or anything that exists to this day that has that same layout. It's also dump locked, so I can't dump the contents. I did, however, where is it? I can't see. Yeah, here it is. Stand by. I created, and I believe that's your chip in there, Javier.
Uh-oh.
The little Arduino that basically this thing is acting as a ROM. It has 16 inputs and 2 outputs. And the 2 outputs are complementary. If one input's a 1, the other is a 0. If the other is 0, the other is a 1. It doesn't matter. They're always the inverse of each other. So it's basically like a 1-bit ROM. It has 16 inputs. So it has 65,000 different outputs. And so I just used an Arduino and iterated through all 65,000 addresses and recorded what all the outputs are. So in theory, I have a truth table for this that I could, in theory, convert to something. Like I could, in theory, convert it to a ROM. But the problem is the speed of this is like 7 nanoseconds. It's logic. It's fast now. There is no ROM out there that is that fast, that would respond fast enough and provide data quickly enough to do the switching features that this thing does. So anyway. Well, whine, complain, whine, complain. You know. So anyway, Chris, A850, my friend.
We need
if you have that data, we will be eternally grateful. I will send you money or beer money, or I don't know, candles, or I will, if you've got an old broken machine, I'll fix it for you or something. Make it worth your while.
Yep.
Just to have that out there.
Yeah, it would be nice.
Yeah, they make gals. Yeah, here's the problem, Thomas, is that they make the gals, but the problem is not the chip, the speed of the gals. The problem is that this is a 16C1. It's called a combinatorial gal. It takes all 16 inputs and acts on all 16 inputs, right? Whereas the gals that are out there now do 8 and 8 and give you an output for either these 8 or these 8, not all 16 at once. And there isn't a chip out there that'll do that except for an original PAL. So, and the other thing too is original PALs are not reflashable. They're one-time flashable, and they cost like $10 a piece. And you don't know if you go on eBay and buy one, you don't know if it's been pre-flashed. You don't know. Have fuses been blown on it already? Because it's an old, no longer made thing. Yeah, I would like to reverse engineer this thing, like I like to do, and create a modern replacement for it. Which is because it's effectively acting like a ROM. If I can find a ROM chip that's fast enough, it's literally just a ROM. Because that's what it's acting like. It has 16 inputs, addresses, and it gives outputs on the bits. It's ROM, effectively. Yeah.
But isn't it ironic that with all the technology that we have now, it's going to be a pain to replace that? Isn't it ironic? It's like
silly. Like in theory, I could take the logic and figure out how to do it with actual logic chips.
Yeah, but
it would be a board this big.
Exactly. Yeah.
It'd be like 100 NAND gates.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Actually, yeah, you could do an Arduino Mini, and I don't know. I'm thinking and put like a board with smaller chips, so it fits in that or something like that, or even a Raspberry Pi.
A Raspberry Pi would probably be fast enough. In order to
a Nano, I'm sorry, a Raspberry Pi, the 0W, or even I don't know if the Pi. Yeah,
because logic responds instantly, because it's a response at the quantum level. When power comes in, the transistor switches state, right? When you have something like an Arduino or a Raspberry Pi, it is under programmatic control, going out and checking the state of the pins, then changing the state of other pins. Instead of doing it automatically through direct electrical connection, it's programmatically polling the pins, then changing other pins. You would have to have one really super fast CPU in that thing to read them fast enough to be able to read all the state of all the pins, convert it into your output, then turn the outputs on fast enough within the time frame. A Raspberry Pi might be fast enough to do it if you literally wrote a custom kernel for the ARM processor that sits there in a super tight loop.
And
everything
is doable. It's just a matter of
I don't know how to freaking do that.
Yeah,
that's beyond my scope.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, I don't know. Ironic.
Yeah. Anyway,
we gotta
just trying to think how else could you how else would you do it? Like literally a ROM is the best modern option for that. It's really the only modern option because none of the gals will do it. How fast does the circuit need to respond? Thomas Armstrong. Based on the clock signals going into it. Stand by. I can actually calculate it for you. Due to megahertz to nanoseconds, so it'd be 14. 70 nanoseconds. Like you need to have a really, really fast ROM. The problem with ROMs as well is that they have switching transients. Many ROMs, and I ran into this problem with my JCM1 computer by using a ROM as an I/O decoder. Instead of like 20 chips, I use a single ROM as an I/O decoder. They have glitches on 1 to 0 or 0 to 1 transitions. If you're going, or a 0 to 0. So if you're going from a 0 and you change the address to another 0, it'll have a little tiny spike of a 1 in there during that transition. And if you're using it for logic switching, that little spike is an actual glitch. And it can be interpreted as a 1 when it doesn't need to, and can cause the thing to glitch out. So that can be a problem with RAM as logic replacement. So yeah. How about the 35 nanosecond SMD parts? Again, it might work. Modern ROM might, do that better. I don't know. Somebody's asking somebody about a box of Elephant Memory System #1 floppies on the shelf. So, yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Javier. Mm-hmm. Yep. An elephant never forgets, except these floppies suck.
Yeah, I love my elephants.
318180.
I think I have a
69.84 nanoseconds is the switching speed required. Those turned out to be the worst floppies. Yes, they did. They absolutely did. And so that's why you take all the labels off of them and put them on.
Never forget it.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Well, I think I've been streaming for 3 hours. It's 10 o'clock. I technically have to work tomorrow. So I think I'm going to call it a stream. Oh, Javier, man after my heart. First, speaking of man after my heart, the first time I ever met Javier, we met at Kansas Fest 2019. And he was collecting colored floppies. And I was also collecting colored floppies. And I told that man, I have every floppy color but green. I see you have some green floppies. Can I have some green floppies? Some green floppies. Thank you, Javier. I still have them up here, by the way.
Yeah, look, I have a bunch of color floppies all around. I love color floppies.
So, but yes, Chris A850. Yes, if you have that information, contact me, jcm-1.com/contact. And if you don't, contact me anyway. It might be fun to have you on a stream sometime. Again, thank everybody for stopping by. Tonight was Kaypro night, where we sat and stared at the Kaypro do nothing for 45 minutes while it transferred a file, and then goofed off, and then talked about not Kaypro stuff after that for an hour.
Yep.
You sent me a link on Twitter, VHS. Yes, I see that you sent me a thing. Yes, the Kaypro XL. Thank you. Yes, I see that. And boxed. Is it boxed? Stand by. It's in Maine, though. The Kaypro XL is a PC, basically. Yeah, it runs DOS. Yep. Anyway, sorry, back to what I was doing. So anyway, yes, thank you all for stopping by. I do appreciate you stopping by. Thank you to my friend Javier for hanging out with me tonight. Also, thank you to Rudy, who is gone. Thank God he's gone, for hanging out and helping with the moral support and everything tonight as well. Thank you all for stopping by in the chat, for asking all the awesome questions.
Thanks, everybody.
And doing the whole thing. I do appreciate it. While you're here, make sure you hit that like button that tells the YouTube algorithm that, hey, I like this guy's content. So it will show my content to people that watch stuff similar to what you watch. So it kind of spreads me around and lets more people know about that. Hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed. Go to Museum Joe, at Museum Joe. Follow me there for shenanigans and stuff. And until next time, we will see you all. Have a good evening.